Miami stands to fight. Lights burn bright. From the water they rise, fins cut the air. Storming fields.
Guys, I will try not to laugh throughout this show. I promise. Welcome to the Dolphins postgame show. I am your host.
Take a breath.
Finn Stanza. With me is Steve Malloy. As you saw in the pregame show, Bobby thought, poor Bobby. Thank God he doesn't have to be on this show. Obviously, it's for sad reasons, but oh my God. I must say to everybody who's going to be here on the show, I will even drop the link if you want to talk about it. I'll be happy if someone raises their hand. This was the biggest waste of everybody's time in my life. They should have been giving the tickets out for free. We could have done the post-game show after the first quarter. We have yet to hold the lead. This is embarrassing. We have 45 points in 4 games. The Titans have not scored 30-plus points since the last time they crushed us in 2021 for 34-3. Steve Malloy, how are you? Have fun.
I'm just dumbfounded, man.
Go for it.
I'm lost for words. I've been a fan, and a lot of folks know this, since 1969. This is the worst display of football I've seen in my entire life watching the game of football. This coach, Mike McDaniel, is a moron.
Thank you. Yay. Thank you.
And he can take Chris Greer with him wherever he goes. I do not want to see those two clowns in Miami ever again.
I love it.
This was embarrassing. This was humiliating. This was worse than embarrassing and humiliating. Everything we talked about in the pregame show, what did we say? Mike McDaniel cannot play and call plays and continue to operate like his stepson, Tua Tagovailoa, is playing at quarterback. And I'll be honest with you, Tua might have done worse.
Probably.
He might not have lasted the game.
Probably would have gotten destroyed.
He would have.
He was trying to kill A-Chain. He kept on taking his smallest running back and shoving him down the numbers. Like, I poor kid. You're on the second 2-yard line. Let's shove A-Chain down the middle. Where's Ingold? Where was Jonnu Smith tonight? Did he play? Durham Smythe? Braxton? Did anyone play tonight? Malik Washington? Did he got involved? Izukama? Was he there? Where were all the players? I didn't see anybody. I don't expect Tyler Huntley to be anything, Steve. Yeah. I've been a fan since the mid-'80s, since I could remember. Dan Marino, 1986, when I was 4 years old. This, by far, for me, I have been saying this for 2 years. No one wanted to hear me. I've been fighting with Brett. It's Greer. I understand, but Greer hired McDaniel. McDaniel chose Tua. They chose to have Tyreek. They chose to have Waddle. They chose to get rid of Wilkins, get rid of Hunt, get rid of all this. How in a game like this does draw? I understand there was a bad throw by Tyler Huntley. How does Tyreek Hill continually drop footballs on these passes? How does Jalen Waddle body catch? How the heck do you expect? Mike McDaniel, every time they interview him at halftime, I want to vomit. And I'm telling you this right now, what was my number one pet peeve going into this game? I don't want to see Tua Tagovailoa. There were 2 things that pissed me off in this game. One, ESPN. I'm never watching a game on ESPN ever again because the fucking split screens were absolutely ridiculous. What do you need? That's the reason why it's on ESPN Plus. We don't need to see the split screen. It drove me bananas. And every 5 minutes, what would happen without Tua? Do we not recall that Tua is at fault for this? I am putting this on Tua just as much as McDaniel. What kind of moron who has 3 concussions and is injury prone runs forward straight into somebody's head? Not even Tyler Huntley, who ran the ball today. What did he do every time he got the ball? At least he had the brain power from Hallandale High to slide. I guess they don't teach you that at Alabama. Unbelievable. Every time they showed him with a sour look on his face, I go, you want to know what, Tua? You look upset. You're annoyed. This is your fault. You've created this monster with Mike McDaniel where the offense is so catered to your BS of accuracy that they don't know how to get around it. It is absolute bananas. And every time they tried the zone running, it was a joke. They did only when they pounded the ball with Jalen Wright did it somewhat work. Our best players are absolute horseshit. And you want to know what? 5 illegal shift penalties. No other team has that many, period, all season. 5 illegal shifts. Tyreek Hill wasn't in motion. But you want to know what? People are going to blame Tyler Huntley for that. Or when he got sacked in the middle of the beginning of the game. You want to, he's 2 weeks into it. What do? You get rid of the stupid effing motions, Mike McDaniel. What are you doing? 5 illegal shifts. It's like the same thing with Julian Hill. He gets 3 penalties. Let's keep on throwing him out on the field. Let's keep doing the same BS of the stupid motions. What was the nonsense? The only time I saw Jonnu Smith is when he had an illegal shift. The only time I saw Julian Hill is when he had an illegal shift. The only time we saw, and then Tyreek Hill gets pissed off and is yelling at McDaniel and Wes Welker. Finally, some emotion. But then near the end of the game, you see something with him laughing. I love it. Then Chris Greer standing there, leaning against the post, trying not to get his face cut off. He is a two-face. All I can tell you right now is this. Everyone is putting this on Tua, and this is why I'm even more angry at Tua, because I think this team would be as bad with Tua. They would not have won these football games because defense is falling apart. The soft zone is unbelievable. And how is a team 1 for 13 on 4th down on 4th and 1s? How is it possible that every time he goes for 4th and 1, he gives to Achane and Hill? Why don't you bruise the goddamn ball with Jalen Wright? Why don't you even try a deep ball? Try something. But instead, you're trying these dink and dunk BSs, and they're going north and they're going east-west. Why don't you going north and south? It's absolute bananas to me why this pathetic excuse for a head coach, a leader of men. I don't want to hear that ever again. Anyone who could possibly compliment this man and give me one positive about him is not a fan of the Miami Dolphins. They're a fan of Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniel, and I want them off my stupid bandwagon. Because you want to know what? I love this football team, but what they have done to my football team is an atrocity because they don't care. It's a social club. It is they have no answers. You want to know what? At least Zach Sealer, he was mad at himself when he missed Tajay Spears on the Wildcat.
Yeah.
No other emotion. You see Calais Campbell diving for a fake punt, and then that moronic 8-year veteran, Duke Riley, Danny Crossman should be fired for this. He goes to fall on the goddamn ball. What is wrong with that mental midget? All I can say is this team is a joke. And no matter how much you want to blame Greer and how much you want to blame Tua, in the end, a head coach is responsible for the 53rd man because you can't fire 53 players. Yeah. Ross might be able to fire Greer, but in the end, what ends up happening is they always fire Greer or they fire the GM and they don't get rid of the head coach. In the end, there were more discipline with Brian Flores. There was more. This is Gase. This is not even as bad as Gase and Cutler in 2017. We knew when it was bad with Cam Crammon, they didn't have anybody. But then they saw Tony Sperano never would allow this. It wasn't even as bad with this with Philbin. All I could tell you right now is Mike McDaniel is the reason why we are never going to win. Greer needs to go because he's a lifer. But this is a new coach who comes from the Shanahan tree. And he's the only coach right now with zero success. Zero success. LaFleur's been successful. Greer, you look at Cleveland. What's his name? Shanahan's been successful, obviously. LaFleur's been successful. Taylor's been successful. Everyone's successful except this moron. I would fire him now, and I'd go to Bill Belichick. What do you want? Take over the personnel, take over this, do what you want. I don't care. Bring anybody else except this stupid idiot. Your turn.
No, I agree 100%. And I know Bobby mentioned in the chat that this is bigger than Tua, and it is bigger than Tua. And I do not blame Tyler Huntley for the way this game went with him at the helm at quarterback. It's not his fault. He's only been here for 2 weeks, so it's not totally his fault. It all rests on Mickey. That's his new nickname for me. McMickey McMickey.
I love Aubrey. Love you, Aubrey.
That is all rest on his shoulders and Chris Greer, because this is Chris Greer's vision, my friends and ladies and gentlemen. It is Chris Greer's vision. This is what he wanted. This is what he asked for. Both those guys think they're smarter than the NFL that's been around for over 100 and something years, and they think they can set trends and they can just change the whole way that football is played. And it's not working. And I've said this many times before. McDaniel or McMickey does not know how to adjust. He doesn't know anything but the scheme that you're seeing. That's it. He is not a head coach. He's a social worker. That's all he is.
Don't give him that much credit. Hey, oh, my sister's a social worker, and she takes care of her people. And when they don't behave, she puts them in their place. This guy's worse than a social worker because he just lets them run ragged. I don't even know what he is. He's a community organizer. Remember the joke with Barack Obama?
There you go.
That he was a community organizer.
That might be more appropriate because he sure isn't a head coach. And I sent you a video that came from a coach. I think his name was Coach B, if I'm not mistaken, Evan. And he knows a little bit about ins and outs of the San Francisco organization. Yeah. And he said on this video that Mike McDaniel, all he was for the San Francisco 49er was a pencil pusher, an accountant, and an analytic. That's all he was. And he was buddy with Shanahan because he grew up under that tree, and they gave him the promotion of OC. He didn't call the plays in San Francisco. He didn't call those plays. He was a pencil pusher.
Yes.
Writing down stats on a piece of paper with a clipboard. That's all he was. Yeah. And he's a fraud. He fooled everybody.
How about we start with the fact that you can't touch the play calling anymore? How about you stupid idiot? Major changes. When did you realize this? The last Tennessee game? What is wrong with you? He's dumb. Like, this guy is the dumbest human being. I want him to take back his Yale degree. How did he get a degree from Yale?
He must have known somebody, had connections.
That's
the only thing I can think of. Because the guy is McDumb. He's not McGenius. He's McDumb.
No, he's McMoron. He's McGace. He's McDummy. I don't know what the. Let me just say this overall. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's just be serious about the game. I don't even care about stats.
Sure.
The number of penalties. Remember what was the key to the game? Get turnovers.
Penalties
galore. 5 illegal shift penalties. The holding calls. The pass interference. Turn your stupid head. Like, what is wrong with you? How many years have you been in the league?
That's coaching. He's been doing the same thing over and over again. Always, he never turns his head.
Never turns his head.
Never.
Okay, let's just talk about all the levels. Let's talk defense first. Okay,
sure.
Anthony Weaver, I must be the Fairmont defensive coordinator, but this soft zone nonsense where they were able to. Mason Rudolph, because we'll talk about the backup thing, but Mason Rudolph ate you guys away. He came down the field like Chad Henne in a playoff game.
Second string quarterback.
Well, Holland is nothing since the first game. Poyer got injured. Kohu can't turn around. Leave Ramsey alone. Ramsey's fine. Brooks had a good game. Sealer gave his all, but he made a boo-boo on that play. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Campbell diving for the punt, not a problem. We don't have a nose tackle. Where was Chop Robinson? Ogba almost dropped the interception. Good thing he has thick legs. Yeah. Jalen Phillips, who should never have been brought back into that game. He's now injury prone. He's made of freaking glass. I don't understand. Like, you ever see that movie with Samuel L. Jackson where every time he walked, he broke his he would break something? That's Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips is never going to be a success in the NFL. He's too injury prone. He's as bad as Tua. Yeah. The trenches of this team on defensive line today with Tony Pollard was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. Anthony Walker, no use tonight. Like, I don't even matter if David Long. David Long would have gone the wrong way.
He got hurt too.
Yeah, he got injured too before the game. Then you look on the other side. They don't use Uzakama. They don't use Barrios. They don't use Jonnu Smith. They don't use Durham Smythe. They don't use Tanner Connor. They finally start to incorporate Tyreek. But let's go. Because Tyreek is fast. Let's go. Every time Tyreek did the jet sweep, he had no supporting coverage on blocking, zero blocking today. He drops balls. Jalen Waddle can't catch. Malik Washington finally gets one throw. The running game, you have Achane trying to act like he's a freaking bruiser. He's trying to get Achane killed.
He was banged up too.
He was trying to get him
He was limping off. He was limping.
Unfreaking believable. Then you have Jalen Wright, who was actually a little bit of a bright spot on the front.
Yeah.
On the offensive line, the offensive line is a disaster. But Patrick Paul didn't get a penalty today. Eichenberg didn't get a penalty today. Brewer was so rushed because of the motion through that bad snap to Huntley. Then you had the guard draw. You actually didn't hear a lot of penalties from the offensive line. They just can't block. Mm-hmm. That's their problem. They just can't block because they're inadequate. Like Austin Jackson had to cover two people. It was a bad call. The problem was the cadences were so ridiculously stupid. And I don't want to hear that, Tua would have made that throw to Tyreek. Bull crap. You don't know that. I don't want to always hear about the fact that Tyreek would have done this or Tua would have done that. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Because if Tua was going to make those throws, he wouldn't have been a moron and gotten concussed. Because
here's the thing, Evan. Here's the thing, real quick. I'm going to stop you real quick, and I'll let you go. You're cooking.
We're going to keep going. We have lots to talk about.
Yeah, you're cooking. Yeah. As far as the blocking on the offensive line, yes, we don't have the horses to pull the carriage. I get it, but also it's the scheme. The way that this scheme is designed and the way that their blocking assignments are constructed, a lot of times you've got Austin Jackson helping Eichenberg, and you've got frickin' Patrick Paul, rookie helping Robert Jones. Well, what happened? What about the other 2 or 3 guys? Yeah. They slip in, they get a sack, or they put pressure on the quarterback.
And no Jeffrey Simmons.
It's the scheme. No Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah.
And think about this. We scored 12 points on gimmies. We gave them 6. And then what is the horse crap about giving them the ball back with 2 minutes left? Then with 11 seconds left, soft zone coverage. Let's get Mason Rudolph going down the field. So let's talk about the quarterbacks quickly.
Isn't that familiar, the soft zone coverage?
Oh, yeah. It reminds me a little bit. I think I'm convinced it's not Fangio. I'm convinced it's not Weaver. It's McDaniel. McDaniel likes soft. He likes to put his head on a soft pillow.
This whole team is soft.
He loves cottonelle. He likes soft leather. I don't understand this. He looked dumbfounded today. He continues to look. I'm not going to personalized stuff, but he looks absolutely flabbergasted.
I like this comment. Emotion. I like this comment right here. He's exactly correct.
Yeah,
because McDaniel does not have the knowledge.
No, doesn't know
to run a pro style offense or pro style scheme.
He stole some of the playbooks from Kyle Shanahan. Yeah. Do you ever see the the book? Do you ever see The Waterboy?
Yeah.
With Adam Sandler. Remember the coach who stole the book from Henry Winkler and he couldn't read the plays because he didn't have the right book? That's Mike McDaniel. He basically has a playbook, but he's missing half the pages. Yeah. He needs to, if he had Mike, and also I'm just telling you this right now, you want the 2 worst game, forget about the Buffalo game. They've scored a total of 15 points with Tua Tagovailoa in the quarterback's ear. Tua Tagovailoa is there. So if Tua Tagovailoa seems to be this quarterback genius, this phenomenal accurate quarterback, where is his support of his quarterback? Where is this? I don't understand it. Like, if he's so great and he's helpful on the sidelines,
and he's a leader,
this is
supposedly
when Tyreek Hill. He's a leader. He's a Pro Bowler. This and that. I've never heard such horse crap in my life. Finally, I saw some emotions from Tyreek Hill. But you know what the best part about today's game was? If anyone wants to come on, tell me, and I'll drop the link. You guys are going to get a chance to talk tonight. Is the fact that Mason Rudolph came in, and even though Will Levis may have been capable to come into the game, Callahan pulled a Dave Canales and said, I'm going to keep my veteran in the game.
Why not? Why not? The way he was playing.
And how is it that guy scored you 30 plus points, got you down the field, got you points at the half? I don't want to hear anything about backup quarterbacks, because if Brian Callahan could take Mason Rudolph, a veteran, Now, Chris Greer could be to blame for the fact that he didn't bring in a quarterback. But who's also to blame more than him, to me, is the moronic head coach, the inept head coach. Because if he thought that Skylar Thompson wasn't good enough or Mike White wasn't good enough, with Tua's injury history, instead of protecting his little son's feelings, he would go get a quarterback. Because the reason why the Titans won tonight was because of Mason Rudolph and because of Tony Pollard. What do? We rely on a mid running back in Devon Achane. We rely on jet sweeps going to outside zones where we can't block to save our effing lives. And you know what was proof tonight? People said, get the ball to Waddle and Hill. Even when you get the ball to Waddle and Hill, they can't do bleeping crap. This team's foundation is completely messed up. The leadership on this team is messed up. Yep. There's no leadership from Tua. There's no leadership from Armstead. There's no leadership from Hill. There's no leadership from Jalen Ramsey. There's no leadership. They are absolutely horse crap. And I can't believe it. I don't blame Huntley.
That's a great
look. I went through progressions, and the offense is set up to be like an NFL team. The simple football mind, no QB is in there. He's a smart guy, my buddy Aubrey. I love Aubrey. And Aubrey, I miss you at hockey. Pick up the phone when you're around. We'll go for lunch. Cooper and Zach will get together. We miss you. All I could tell you right now is what I should have. My new show starting Thursday night was that Finstanza was right about McMoron, because I've been saying this since the Chargers, and I was told by my brother Bobby, he's a rookie head coach. Fire Greer. It's the GM. At one point, we did not fire Flores. I was not happy with how Flores managed the offense with Tua, but I like how he managed the offense with Fitzpatrick. There was a clash. They chose Tua over Flo. That's not why we fired. We did not fire Flores because of poor coaching. It was poor engagement with a particular player because there was a battle between the GM and the coach. However, I'll tell you this. Brian Flores was a darn good head coach because he took a team that shouldn't have won any games to 5-11. Then they won 10 games. Then they also were 9-8, 9-8. They almost made the playoffs. It was a mess to begin with, but he's done more in the 3 years he was here than McDaniel's done in the 3 years he was here.
With less talent.
Way less. This team, it's not about the playoffs for me anymore. It's not about that. I'm going through a rebuild. Right now I have issues in my other sport, which I watch, which is Montreal hockey. A guy got poorly injured who was one of our new star players in preseason, so I'm a little demotivated for our regular season. But we've built a proper foundation. We haven't overspent on anybody. We gave away everything. Gave away money to Ramsey, gave money to Hill, gave money to Waddle, gave money to Tua, gave an extension to McDaniel. Honestly, you would have been better off signing a regular backup quarterback for $10 million. You would have been better off keeping Hunt, even if it cost you $20 million, because you're seeing what your zone running is happening without him on right guard. And you're seeing also, because he helped Austin Jackson. If you look now, Austin Jackson, he was better for Austin Jackson.
Absolutely. 100%.
And you need, honestly, Christian Wilkins in the middle. At least there's some heart. I don't question Zach Sealer. I don't question Calais Campbell. But even Raekwon Davis, Ogba's giving his all, but the whole foundation of it is a mess. Holland, I wouldn't re-sign Holland at this point because I don't like this team. Anyone who's here the last 3-4 years, I think is toxic.
Jalen Phillips, you can't re-sign Jalen Phillips with his injury history now. And this has all started back in college. He was injured in college too. So like Tua, he was injured in college.
Yeah.
Bradley Chubb, he had an injury history. Terron Armstead, he had an injury history. We're built like a
we're still going to lose next game. We'll lose.
We're freaking built like a convalescent home, man.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of players that should belong in a convalescent home.
What can I just tell you? You know what made this game even worse is when you put it side by side with a Lions Seahawks game with back and forth offense. And that's where my Dolphins were supposed to be, not a year and a half ago. They were battling teams and they were going back and forth 2 years ago where you knew there was a quick punch here. You knew how sad is it when how many times did Louis Riddick, who I would hire as my GM tomorrow, was saying the one type of throw that was working was inside the numbers. He never threw it there. he never gave him the even shots in front of the safeties because McMoron, McDumbass, McIdiot, I want him McFired, McDonald's, I don't even know what to say anymore.
McMickey.
He is. I don't know. He didn't utilize it. It was so obvious how the play calling should have been tonight, and I don't care about blow up because unfortunately you can't blow this team up. Unfortunately not because you have big contracts you can't get rid of yet.
Trade.
You can trade, but some people you're not going to get a lot
And
of
if we're
foundation.
good, if you're going to trade, like if you're going to make a trade like with Tyreek, you better do it you better do it before the season's over.
Yeah, but if you brought in a Vrabel tomorrow, and you brought in or you brought in a Belichick tomorrow, or you brought in a smart head coach, they wouldn't allow for the stupidity that exists right now. They would find a foundational piece that works. Like they no matter what, there was, you know what also it is there's a sense of the fact that they're not trying. The defensive line is trying, and Sealer and Calais Campbell and Ogba and Brooks, but no one else is trying because they're not trying. They
were
just
checked
not
out.
trying.
This team was checked out in the second half.
And honestly, McFire for sure. And by the way, I love it too. The refs were so lost with the they didn't know they didn't even know, oh, in this play it was outside the zone, it was this, it was that, and Bailey then lost his mind and couldn't punt it properly. Like it was such a stupid game. And I said to myself, well, Tom Brady, I would take Bill tomorrow. Honestly, go watch Bill on Pat McAfee. I'm telling you, you'll get smarter. There's a reason. I don't want to hear this bullshit. If it's Brady would have won without him. It's the same thing as saying that Andy Reid wouldn't win without Patrick Mahomes, or Patrick Mahomes would win Andy Reid. People win because people win. I don't care how they win, because in the end, if they win, it doesn't matter. Someone who has a ring on their finger, I'll put it to you this way. I have a buddy who lives down the block from me, was a great ball player. And it played AA, AAA, couldn't make it to the majors. And over the years, he got a little bit bigger and this and that, but he knew baseball really well. Got his shot to be a scout for the San Francisco Giants, starting in the mid to late 2000s. You don't want to know what? You know what he has on his finger? 3 championship rings. No one cares how. The guy has 3 World Series rings as he's a scout. Why? Because that team was built properly. This team is a house of cards. And you want to know why I don't blame Greer before you go? Where's Chop Robinson? Chop Robinson's eating his pork chop on the sideline. Because that's why he's called pork chop. Because he was the size of a pork chop when he was born. For me right now, the reason why I don't put as much on Greer is because Greer is a yes man. No matter what you want to say about the idiot, he goes with what the head coach wants on the field. If Mike McDaniel walked into his office and said, I'm worried about my boy Tua, we need to have a guy to get here, because you want to know what? There's a reason why Will Levis, instead of having Malik Willis, has Mason Rudolph. There's a reason why Bryce Young has Andy Dalton. There's a reason why Carson freaking Wentz is behind Patrick Mahomes. Even though he'll never even Andy Reid has the seichel to realize this. People are smart about who's going where. Today, you had Tajay Spears, a different speed guy with a power guy like Pollard. Then you have here, you didn't even utilize Jalen Wright properly. In the plays where you're supposed to be using Jalen Wright, you're using Devon Achane.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a fake story. That's not a fake story. Go look it up. He was a very big kid, you moron, David. Muzzle tov, I have to buy some honey from you, my buddy. All I could tell you now, Steve, is you go on your rants. I go on my overreaction bandwagon. You want to know what? The one thing I haven't overreacted on is the fact that I've been consistent about the fact that we have the worst coach in the NFL, because he's not a head coach. There's zero leadership. There's zero anger. I'd be throwing my headset on these illegal shifts. You know what he did after having an illegal shift? Let's run another motion play. Let's run another motion play. Let's run another motion play.
I know. I don't get it, man. Yeah, I just don't get it. But here's the deal too. I know you said that it starts with, that Chris Greer's a yes man and all that. Yeah. But you know who I blame too, and a lot of people aren't talking about? Yeah. Ross.
Sure. He's afraid to fire.
It starts with Russ.
But I think he's afraid to fire Greer because of Flores. because of the lawsuit.
You think he has some stuff in the closet?
No, I think he's afraid
on
to.
on
I think he's
Ross?
afraid to. I think he's afraid to fire another minority head. A minority. I'm afraid to say that. I'm not.
Possible, and it could be something to do with that. His father's a consultant for this team too.
But he's
Chris
been
Greer's
here
father.
forever. He's been here since Fiedler.
I know.
Fiedler. There's one consistency for the last 25 years of this team. Not winning a playoff game and Chris Greer. It's the only two consistencies. That's it. There's nobody else. Not even maybe the equipment guy. That's it. The guy who does the jerseys. I know I'm not overreacting, but people say I overreact. My point is that
No,
I at least
you're
I've been
not
consistent
overreacting.
about it. No. My anger falls on the fact that I don't want to hear about the fact that Tua is going to save the day. So think about this. The stadium was empty. They were getting courses of booze. Even when we were 1-15 with Cleo Lemon and Greg Camarillo catching that ball, no one booed the Dolphins. They were trying. This is a team that spent a fortune of money on all these players, and they're laughing on the sideline. Laughing on the sideline.
Yeah. They can't wait till the game's over so they can go home, and the next day go to Disney on Ice.
Yeah.
And sing Kumbaya together in the bathtub or the hot tub.
It's unbelievable. I want to pull this up just because I want to tell you this. I just want to look at some of the stats. It's unbelievable tonight. Let's take a look. I just want to go over them so everyone has a chance to hear them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go team stats. Okay. We had 16. They had 16 first downs. We had 13. They were 2 for 12. They were awful. Somehow they scored 30 points. They were 2 for 12 on third down. We were 2 for 12. They were 1 for 1 on fourth down. We were 1 for 3. They had 244 yards. We had a garbage time of 184 yards. They had the same amount of drives as us. They had how much yards? Let me look here. They had 142 yards of power rushing. We only had 106. So at least we got that. We were hardly in the red zone. We took 10 penalties for almost 100 yards. We had 10 minutes less. 10 minutes of time of possession that was less. But you know what? This is the one point about this whole game. You're down by less than 2 scores. Let's kill 7 minutes of the clock going down the goddamn field. Mm-hmm. Let's kill 7 minutes in the fourth quarter to score a touchdown. No timeouts, no urgency on the play call. Let's do our motions. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Maybe I'm telling you that fancy $100,000 watch on his wrist, I don't think it tells time because the man is on a different time zone. The guy is the stats tell you right now that they were just as bad as we were tonight, and we continue to lose. The Seahawks were not great. We continue to lose. We had no business being the Jaguars. In theory, we should be 0-4, and we've yet to lead a football game. There's not one team in the NFL that has less points than we do, not even by a country mile. And there's no team that has not had a lead for more than the second, and that is the Miami Dolphins. And if I hear one more time that Tua is this phenomenal quarterback, and you know what? If he was such a good quarterback, he wouldn't be concussed. Because you want to know what? When Steve Young got concussed, and when Troy Aikman got concussed, they were being barreled down where there was no roughing the passer. Today, what's his name was Jalen Phillips was getting blocked, got pushed over by that guy, tripped, landed on the leg, roughing the passer, the Tom Brady rule.
I saw
and
that.
You're saying to yourself, unbelievable, beyond words how pee-wee flag football the league has become.
It has.
But the teams we're beating have not, except for Buffalo, were not great teams, and we lost to an 0-3 football team that had their backup quarterback, and they walked into your house, Mike freaking McDaniel, McFired, McStupid, McDumbass. I don't care anymore. I will not, on any circumstances, ever apologize for anything I'm saying tonight, because what he has done in the first 4 games of this season is what I predicted would happen. And every time I said before the show, I will give him one more chance. And to score 12 points, where the 12 points that were scored, you wasted 7 minutes, didn't use your timeouts properly, is unbelievable. I don't want to hear about Tua. I don't want to hear about McDaniel. I don't want to hear about any of this. This team is a dumpster fire. We would not beat a CFL team right now. We would lose to an old XFL team.
You might
because
even
as
lose
long
a
as
high
your
school
head coach, as long as the head coach is Mike McDaniel, as long as Tyreek Hill is dropping passes and Jalen Waddle is dropping passes, and people are going out of bounds on special teams or muffing punts or not touching the ball when you could have just let it fall, Duke Riley, I don't even know what to say. It's a comedy of errors because it's this famous line. You were in the military, right? So
Hmm.
in the end, why is it that there are colonels, there are generals, there are sergeants, there are privates, there's whatever form of a government you are, and whether you're in the Navy, well, I
Sure.
appreciate everyone's service in life. I always tell my employees, when you screw up, it's my fault because the owner is going to blame me for your behavior. No matter
Correct.
what a player does, whether it's Cater Kohu, whether it's Anthony Weaver, whether it's Danny Crossman, whether it's Wes Welker, whether it's Tua, whether it's Skyler, whether it's Tyler, in the end, it falls on the head coach, and the head coach had zero emotion today, except every time they did a close up on him, he looked like a buffoon. He is by far the worst head coach in Dolphins history, because Cam Cameron, for all he had, did not have a good roster. He was bad,
Mm-mm.
but after 1 year, they kicked him to the curb. Joe Philbin was not a great hire, but has a better record and a better time period than Mike McDaniel has. Less talent. Brian
Mhm.
Flores, less talent. Adam Gase, less talent. Look,
Mhm.
every team. Dave Wanstead was maybe the one that was closest, but at least he won a playoff game.
Yeah.
Nick Saban knew when to get out because when he realized how stupid he was to choose Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees, all I can tell you right now is it doesn't matter what the stat sheet said. There's one thing that's clear. I've never seen a team of individuals like this in my life. And I'm telling you, Tua, there's going to be infighting now because Tua is the root cause of all this because people are going to say, well, if Tua was there, they're going to win. I'm sorry. Starting quarterbacks get hurt all the time. Why is it that Sam Darnold came in this year and is 4-0? Mason Rudolph comes into your house and scores 30. Andy Dalton goes in and wins a football game, his first game in.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco comes in and wins for Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this garbage about who the backup is because when Tyler Huntley was in Baltimore, John Harbaugh found a way to win with him. So I don't want to hear this garbage about any of this because the selection of the backups goes to Mike McDaniel. The development of the playbook goes to Mike McDaniel. I don't put the shifts on Tyler Huntley. I don't want to hear about the fact that it's the quarterback's fault that he has to wait. You wonder what? Mike McDaniel doesn't give him time to wait because he has so many people going over motions. I'd be lost too. I'd be running in circles. I'd forget where I'm going.
Again, Mike McDaniel makes things. He just made it more complicated for Tyler Huntley. This is what we talked about during pregame. He needs to simplify this offense, and he didn't do that. He didn't even let a couple of times. He had a design play for Tyler Huntley, but other than that, he didn't let him. He didn't cater to his skills.
But can I ask you a question? How is it that with Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, out of nowhere, comes in and beats Mike McDaniel in his first game? It's like, is the writing not on the wall for people to realize that
I hope it should be by now.
but no matter how bad the roster is, a roster of star players. Oh, we have all these weapons: Jonnu Smith, Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Teron Armstead. You still can't do shit. But I believe that even if the roster is not built well, a competent head coach would realize that you have to adjust, that you can't
Exactly.
just try to fit square pegs into round holes.
Exactly.
There's a reason why certain weapons have a certain ammunition inside of there's a reason why I'll give you the best example. I remember I talked about the cars earlier, about the fact that I have two cars now that require supreme gas, like the highest level octane gas.
Right. Right.
I've never had cars like this. And I said to somebody, what happens if I put in the regular gas? What's going to happen is you're going to damage your engine over time.
Yep.
What he's done is he's now putting in regular guys, whether it's Grant Dubose, Robbie Chosen, Devon Achan. He's putting in play and not utilizing his weapons in the right way. Tyreek Hill, the reason why these deep routes are not working with these quarterbacks, because even Tua has been overthrowing him, is because of the fact that the timing is off, because they're already so good. Tyreek Hill, I don't care how fast you are, I'm running this way, I'm running that way, then I'm running a go route. You're exhausting your players mid-game before they even start the route.
Yeah. Yeah, with all the motion and stuff like that, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it boggles my mind, man. And we talked about this early in the pregame too. What does he do? He throws these damn screens. It's what is it? Was it like 3rd and 1?
When
or
he ran the
third and
ball
two?
when it was 38, when he started running the ball on 3rd and 8.
I mean, are you
3rd and
kidding
8,
me? Or even
up the
when
middle.
it was no, but here's the thing too. It's 3rd and 1, and he's throwing a damn pass 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, where the runner has to run 5 yards just to get to the line of scrimmage first.
Yeah,
And then there's no blockers out in front. How in the heck do you expect? And he did it over and over and over and over again. I don't get it, man. This guy's I don't know, man. He's a freaking space cadet or something. I don't understand. How about, and I gotta blame his coaching assistant, Frank Smith. Isn't Frank Smith putting a bug in his ear and say, "Hey, dude, it's not working"?
Yeah. Adam Beasley reported Tyreek Hill, whose drop lateral was a critical early turning point, did not speak to reporters after the game because he's probably pissed. He's probably pissed. He's probably embarrassed because he blew smoke out. He blew smoke up people's butts before the game, and I feel bad for the people who were at that game again tonight. Do you know that Jared Goff was 18 for 18 today? 18 for 18. The guy literally did not have one incomplete pass. The way our offense is built, you're gonna have an incomplete pass before the game even starts.
Don't forget, he caught a touchdown pass too.
He caught, at one point he had more yards receiving than Tyreek Hill.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, do you?
And he had a touchdown. He had a touchdown. Tyreek didn't have a touchdown.
You know, heading into the first half, we had less than 30 yards of less than net 30 yards of offense.
I think yeah, absolutely. I know. It was just pitiful. It was.
It's sunk in, Christopher. I had hope because I was trying to basically build up the bandwagon, but he has completely destroyed the bandwagon. We're already putting on our winter tires. It's already icy snow. This is going to be ridiculous again. At least it's a short week, right? It's only 6 days of disaster, not 7. Or the last time we lost to the Seahawks, we had to suffer through it for 8 days. But he's not. Who's he going to choose to start on Sunday? If I'm a quarterback, if he and Darrell Bevel are going to have to walk into the room tomorrow and say, "Who wants to be my quarterback tomorrow?" And none of them are going to raise their hand because I would not want to play for him. He is going to ruin my career. He is going to ruin my career. And I will say this on Tua, which I am pissed off about Tua because of the fact that he's still the focus of this team.
Yeah.
I am now saying this very straight up. He may have increased. I think the change of pace. I believe that Tua would have been resurrected with any head coach who was offensively minded, because Tua Tagovailoa is showing that the offensive scheme of Mike McDaniel doesn't work for anyone but him. But at the same time, if Mike McDaniel is his quarterback whisperer, he shouldn't just be. Jesus cometh, that all of a sudden these two soulmates meet, and that's when the offense works. But it stopped working in the cold. It stops working in Buffalo. It doesn't make sense to me. He is literally. It's a very tough word to say, but he's a tool, because basically remember you said this today. The moment they fall behind, it's over. When I saw 3-0, I go, it's over. I have no faith in Mike McDaniel. Zero faith in Mike McDaniel to overcome a 3-0 lead. And he was and then on 4th and 1, he should have punted because it was a field position game. Mm-hmm. But then instead of trying to go for it on 4th and 1, let's kick a 57-yarder. It made no sense. Like, I think he was just he realized he made a mistake the first time. So when he needed the first, that's the thing. When he should have kicked when he should have punted, he doesn't he kicks he goes for it when
His
he should have gone for it. He kicks the field goal.
yeah, his situational awareness is terrible.
Unbelievable,
It's
unbelievable.
it's just terrible.
I don't know.
But I don't know. I don't know, Evan. What do you think? What do we do now moving forward? What do you think the organization is going to do? What do you think?
Nothing.
Nothing. You
Nothing.
think it's going to stay the same?
All
You
they're
don't
going to
think there's
do,
gonna
all
be
they're
any
going to do is
changes?
it's October, right? It's October. They're
Yeah.
going to send out their season ticket packages, and they're going to and people aren't going to buy, and they're going to raise the prices 50%. I hope they should. Honestly, if I'm Stephen Ross, for the first 3 home games, I would return every single penny back to the fans who showed up to that game tonight.
Well, they're not going
Whoever
to do
showed up
that.
to the game tonight, they should get a refund for the horse shit that they witnessed tonight. They went outside zone on 4th and inches. Outside zone with no blocking. Every time you saw a jet sweep, Tyreek Hill was trying to get to the sideline. He couldn't wait because he knew he had no edge. Because no wide receiver or tight end did Alec go play today? I did not see him on the field. I did not see number 30.
He was MIA.
Like, honestly, I love Bobby and I love to death, but like his guy is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
He's been terrible this year.
Yeah.
He's been terrible this year. But going back to the fans and stuff like that.
Before I mention, we'll talk about the fans. So Armando Sagalero, who doesn't really work for the team anymore, wrote this quickly. Dolphins are 1-3 with 3 consecutive losses, but it's not about that. It's about showing no fight, no urgency, and getting out coached. The 2019 team played harder, better, and were more disciplined. And that was a team that wanted to lose. We want to win now, and we're worse than a team that was tanking.
It sounds to me like
I had more fun watching the 2019 team.
Yeah, it looks to me. It looks to me like he's trying to tank, but he's actually trying to win. Isn't that something?
And
they look like they're tanking, but he's actually trying to win.
Yeah, but you know what the funny part is? Before I talk about the fans, how I run now, I get it. Chris Greer, who's built this team, I now know why he wears that stupid New Era golf hat. Because in public, he doesn't want to be seen as supporting the Dolphins because he knows he's built a pathetic franchise. He won't wear anything Dolphins. And I swear to God, do you understand the arrogance? That's the one thing, McArrogant. And is the fact that those two stand up there with disdain. Oh, we know our team better than anybody. The fans don't understand. The media doesn't understand. This Tyron Armstead takes his offensive line out for supper every week. They bond together. Kumbaya.
They go to Disney on Ice together.
When they were saying on the newscast, these talking heads about the fact that it's all about relationships.
I know.
That Mike McDaniel
I about threw up.
After Mike McDaniel, after the game, he's waiting for Tua in the parking lot. They're going to give each other a hug. He's going to follow him home and read him a story with milk and cookies before he goes to bed. What is this? What is about relationships? Your marriage is a relationship. Your parents is a relationship. This is football.
This is a
not
business.
About relationships. This is about This is a gladiator sport.
It's a violent sport. Yes,
it's a violent sport, and the Dolphins are here to play. I don't even know what they're playing shuffleboard,
and he's turning this whole team into Tinkerbell.
Yeah, we can let dope. I want to join the show. So, guys, I'm going to drop the link. Before you're talking about the fans, I'm going to drop the link and let people have their say.
It's not really talking about it's talking about one specific thing that I heard from a very popular person, nice person. Don't get me wrong. That represents the fans in the Dolphins, and you'll probably know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to mention any names.
Yeah.
On Twitter, this person actually tweeted out, but in the third quarter, she was so upset and so disappointed about the fans. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, I saw that.
Are you kidding me?
I saw that.
You're disappointed about the fans?
Yeah.
They pay their hard-earned money. Yeah. They buy merchandise. They travel from out of town, out of country to visit and watch this display. What's this product that's on the field? Are you kidding me? That just picks me off, man.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. Anyways, Lakers all day wants to join the show. I think we've had our says. We've said a lot, so we're going to let other
Absolutely.
people have their say.
Absolutely.
This is what the show is about on the FinTalk Network. We have 92 people watching all through all networks. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button. Do it for Bobby. Do it for us. We need all the support we can get because we're called the FinTalk Sports Network, and unfortunately, we might be turning into the fraud talk sports network at this point. So I'm just going to add Lakers all day. Welcome to the show.
What's up? How y'all doing?
No problem.
How y'all doing?
Doing great. How are
We're
you?
doing great. We're laughing because unfortunately we sort of sense this. We're more the loudmouth of this network, so we're not that surprised. But the floor is yours. You get to say whatever you feel like it.
Well, when y'all was talking about the commentators talking about, oh, you know what I'm saying, his relationship, the head coach relationship with Tua, I was watching the game with my sister and my mom, and she heard that and she laughed. She laughed because my family is like a sports family. We love sports.
Yeah.
Right.
And my dad wanted Herbert. I wanted Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, she likes sports too. And she knows that Tua is not good. He's good, but he's not great like these elite quarterbacks.
He's mid.
Sure.
He's mid.
And he's mid. My sister
he's
knows
mid.
that too.
Right.
So it's like, it's kind of, she just laughed about that. But we all know the real truth. And you know what I'm saying? It hurts because like people want to out here say that Brian Flores was the problem because of how he treated Tua because of what Tua said on that radio show. But low key, he was right because you know what I'm saying. You go fire Brian Flores, a Super Bowl winning head coach that won Super Bowl, that his defense played against Tom Brady in practice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then after that, he's what 4-0 with the Vikings
Exactly.
with the Sam Darnold quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Who's
And
utilizing
then
Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones properly. They're actually utilizing the plays properly.
And then after that, when Brian Flores was the head coach, he wanted to go get Jordan Love, but then y'all wanted to go get Tua, and we had 3 first-round picks in that draft. So, and low key Tua out here was talking about, oh, Brian Flores was mean to me in text messages.
Yeah, I saw that. I watched that.
So who is the problem? Is it? We all know the problem is now because it shows. It's the quarterback, the GM, the head coach, and the owner. That's
Absolutely.
the
problem. 100%.
It's a foundational structural issue right now.
And Brian Flores told Chris Greer and the owner that they don't know football.
Yes.
Looks like somebody was right when they walked out the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I agree 100%.
I'm not mad. I'm just kind of laughing at this situation because we had somebody as a head coach, just like a Dan Quinn. We had Dan Quinn, that's a tough coach. We had all that. We had a tough coach, minded coach that wanted to work with this team, and he knows football. Because Bill Belichick told us that Brian Flores was one of the greatest defensive coaches that he ever, coached with. So
and if he was such a bad head coach or bad, Van Ginkel would not have gone to play for. Like Van Ginkel chose to go play with the Vikings and Brian Flores, knowing the stuff that happened with him, so he couldn't be that bad.
Yeah.
Right.
So who is the real problem here? Is it because you didn't, you thought you thought you know it, you thought you knew football, but really you don't know football because you drafted a quarterback that was already hurt coming in the draft, and then all these other quarterbacks are getting money, you know what I'm saying, making their team great, but we still over here still having problems with our quarterback. So what's the real problem? It's not the fans. It's some people in the organization that don't know football that needs to go.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
do you know all the QBs, including Tua, have a combined total of 70? Because you like stats, Steve. Our passer rating of all of our quarterbacks, including Tua, is 77.3.
Yeah, it's bad.
No, that's not bad. Like, there's mediocre, there's horse shit, there's that. There's something worse, and it's worse than horse. And this is from the quarterback whisperer.
I'm just being nice.
But why are you the nice one tonight? You're trying to take me a little bit.
I'm trying to be optimistic here. You know,
Lakers all day.
you know.
Are you a bigger Lakers fan than you are a Dolphins fan?
I'm a Laker. Yeah, I'm a Laker fan, and I'm a Hurricanes fan. The Dolphins.
I think I know who you are.
What's up?
Does your handle start with a K?
No.
Okay, I'm getting okay.
So, by the way,
I was getting you mixed up with somebody else.
By the way, you know who they're blaming? Yeah. By the way,
who they're blaming?
People are now going to blame Mario Cristobal because it seems that the Hurricanes are only good when the Dolphins suck, and the Dolphins are somewhat good when the Hurricanes suck. But you know what's interesting about the whole thing is that with the Hurricanes, because we're all Hurricane fans, they've adjusted. They finally have a quarterback, and they're winning football games. Whether they're winning pretty or not, like the Virginia Tech game was not a great, like it was a scary game. They shouldn't have even been close. But in the end, they picked up the victory. You know,
but guess what? Do you know who made the Do you know who told? My bad. Do you know what sparked the to make changes? What? It was that guy from ESPN. What's that white dude that's on ESPN on game day? What's his name? Oh,
not Herb Street. Not McAfee. Not Herb Street.
It is Herb Street.
Herb Street.
Street?
He was. Yeah, he was the one that talked about it, and then I think it got out, and then they realized that wasn't doing good, and then that's how we got Mario. Now look at this. So and maybe it needs to be somebody out there that really needs to tell somebody that about the Dolphins the real hard truth, or one of these players got to speak up and stop trying to get behind the shield and get behind his quarterback, because Tyreek looked like he wasn't happy on the sidelines.
No, not at all.
And I don't know if y'all read his lips, but he said that he is sick and tired of this crap.
I didn't see that.
Nah, you have to go on Twitter or whatever. He said it. He said he is sick and tired of this crap. All we do is kick field goals.
Wow. See, what's happening now is McDaniel lost the locker room.
Yeah.
He's lost the locker room. And this was even before this year. Last year he lost the locker rooms to a degree, I think. Because if you remember that Buffalo game when Tua threw that last interception, everybody says that that the guy ran the wrong route. Then why'd you throw it? But anyway, and Tyreek, he walked off the field shaking his head. You remember that?
Somebody else is in the comments.
And right then, I said, man, he's lost the locker room.
Yeah.
Because Tyreek is supposed to be your leader of the team, right? Last year, the captain, leader of the team too, and he was just walked off and shaking his head.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add Cap in a sec.
Yeah, it was Steve.
Yeah. By the way, just one more thing.
Steve, what's up?
Yeah, no. Guys, one final comment before I add in Cap as well, so you can join the conversation. Want to hear about this stat? I can't believe the stat. Give credit to the defense. The Dolphins' defense has held opponents to a conversion of 23.8% conversion rate on third downs. That is the best in the NFL heading into week 5. So for some reason, they get a lot of first downs, but when it's time to get them off the field on third, they're actually somewhat decent, and they give the Dolphins back the ball. We just like giving the ball back really quickly. But it's actually the defense sometimes in spurts looks really bad, but as a whole, they just give up at the end. Like if you're, you know what I mean? Like you're running. You go, oh, I'm going to win the race. And then at one point you go, there's no point in running anymore.
Well, when the offense doesn't score and put any points on the board and doesn't score, what do you expect?
Yeah.
That's humiliating.
Yeah. Let me add in Cap.
All right.
So you can still talk. Go say what you want, then Cap will say what he wants to say.
And guess what else? You know what I'm saying? Look, you don't think that Tyreek knows what a real quarterback looks like? Because
of course.
So with him out here, want to bring up Tua saying he's good and everything. Trust me, he knows that Tua is not that caliber quarterback. He's just trying to tell that to the media because that he wants us to feel good about Tua. trust me, what he said on the sidelines, he knows that Tua is limited because he sees and you know what I'm saying, and what we saw last season against the Chiefs and how he looked by shaking his head, he
Yeah.
knows that what type of quarterback he should
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
He came
Yeah.
here because he came to the Dolphins because of maybe the money, and you know what I'm saying, he can have all this money, and maybe low key he wanted to go play with Jalen Waddle. I don't know why he came here, but it looks like he made a mistake because how are you that caliber wide receiver, but you know that your quarterback is limited, you know?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
now you want to go ahead and not talk bad, but like
Yeah.
talk saying that, oh, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
whatever he said earlier, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so don't just tell it how it is, but
Mhm.
don't, you know what I'm saying? You got to keep it real because if you keep it real, people now will realize that, oh, this is not how all it is because it looks like somebody was lying and somebody did not do their homework with Tua got drafted, or somebody was lying and did not do their homework on Mike McDaniels in the offense.
By the way, before we let Cap make a
Mm-hmm.
comment, no one else
Yeah.
interviewed Mike McDaniel
Good
except the
points.
Miami Dolphins. Cap, what's up, buddy?
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
Floor's yours,
I
buddy.
no man. I mean, it was Mason Rudolph, the mayonnaise man, and Ryan Tannehill. What the 3 out of the past 4 years we've lost to the Titans, as opposed to us being considered like the Bills are our daddy. I think we need to start putting that equation into that team as well because they own us,
Oh, they do.
and it's sad to see what we just saw tonight. But what's even sadder is to hear everybody just jumping ship on McDaniel when everybody knows that he just got an extension not even less than 3 months ago.
But so did Philbin. Philbin got an extension. They fired him at the end of the year. He didn't make it through
Yeah.
the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
that so? I mean, we did that with Gase too. We did that with Sperano
Right.
at one point. I
Right.
mean, it's not old. It's we know this as a fan base. We know that. But then why preach to us as an owner that you're trying to get away from the definition of insanity when you're just going down that same route at this point?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the head coach is not adjusting to what he has. Like if I'm Ross, unless the guy has literally become senile, I paid money. I have the highest paid wide receiver core in the NFL. I have one of the highest paid corners, one of the highest paid quarterbacks, and my team can't do crap. Like, and Mike McDaniel, when he was asked by Furonis tonight, oh, you have Waddle, you have Hill, you have Achane. Why aren't they being more acclimated to the offense more successfully with your offense? And he said, well, I need to take responsibility for that. No shit, Sherlock. Of course you have to take responsibility, but it's all talk. He's had 3 weeks without Tua. He's had 2.5 games without Tua. And it doesn't matter if he's had Thompson, Boyle, or Huntley. He can't figure it out because he's trying to turn them into Tua. He's trying to turn them into
This
Tua.
this is what they wanted, Evan. This is what
I
they
know.
wanted. They didn't want a backup quarterback. They didn't want O-line help. They knew what they were doing, right? This is what they wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted to pay everybody in advance. They wanted to do everything the way they wanted to do. They didn't want no insight from the fans, which is fine because I'm being force-fed all the time that the 10% club is never heard anyway. But I mean, at this point in time, when the hell is the 10% club going to start being heard?
Yeah.
Because, man, I mean, what I saw today, those fans don't deserve that. You guys don't deserve that. None of these people that do these podcasts, that put in time and effort into this team, deserve what we're getting as a return, bro. This investment is not working out. And for anybody to brainwash you and think differently, my man, everybody needs to just wake up and start looking at what's in front of you right now. Like, we can be optimistic all we want, and I'm going to keep being optimistic. But at one point, do we just break the cycle?
Yeah, well, and that's a good point. But this is what irks me. The reason why that things aren't going to be done about it is because you got fans like Twitted Out, who's really, really in favor with this organization, right? And I think you know who I'm talking about, fan of the year. And this person is going to say on Twitter, I was so disappointed in the way the fans were acting. I was so sad. Really?
Yeah.
Did you see the product that's on the field? And that's the problem. You got fans like that. that say stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they continue to suck it up. Whatever they say, they suck it up and believe everything this organization says, puts out there in the Twitter spaces and the media and all this kind of crap.
And they're the kind of people who can actually have a say or not
They're
say, but they
exactly. They can have
because-
an
No, they
influence.
have a say.
Yes.
Trust me, they have a say because they
Yeah.
have the pay.
Yes.
Yeah. When people there's guys like last year's fan of the year who travels with also the guy with the mask, Bobby Finn's one, and they
Yeah.
go to all the games. They're able to.
They invest a lot in
I
this
have no
game.
idea where they get it, but they're able to
Yeah.
be on the field. They go to every away game. They go to Germany. They go, and they just show up, but you never hear them say one question. It's like the same way go after the media.
No
Ask a
critique.
hard-hitting
No
question.
critique.
They're all afraid to lose their media credentials. They're all afraid. Be forceful. It's not like this team has struggled for a year or two. We are the longest drought ever. My kids who are 10, 11, they go, when are we actually going to see you happy as a Dolphins fan? Like they watch you and you go, you have these ups and downs. And we all live and breathe it. Like tomorrow, it's like moment when I wake up. Do I wear my Dolphins hat or am I embarrassed by it? At one point, because I know if I wear this tomorrow or one of my other 50 hats that I have, I'm going to be teased. If I wear a Hurricanes hat, I look like a great guy. If I wear a Dolphins hat, I get teased. We're embarrassed as Dolphin fans right now. It's embarrassing to go in public.
Mm-hmm.
Lakers all day. Say right now, tomorrow, if you go out tomorrow, are you wearing your Hurricanes hat, your Lakers hat, or your Dolphins hat?
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Lakers hat and my hat because guess what? Both of those teams has more championships than the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't see anybody leave out with garbage bags from that stadium.
Did you see the guy? They keep on showing on Twitter that one guy when we're all saying when we did I think it was the 3rd and 11 where they ran the ball up the middle on 3rd and 8, like towards the end of the half versus trying to get a field goal. And literally the guy was like, what the fuck is this? And it's a big meme on Twitter now because he was all saying what we were saying. Like, what is this nonsense?
Yeah,
Because
but
this is the third game in a row where going into the half, we basically gave it up.
But you know what's crazy though? It's like I feel like Mike McDaniel lied because like in the 49ers, was he a coach over there or what was he
was
doing?
the run game coordinator / offensive coordinator, and JB Bradshaw, one of the guys basically said
the same thing with Cam Cameron. What was Cam Cameron when freaking when the San Diego Chargers were doing their thing? What was it? The OC or what was he over there? He was like the new hot toy. Same thing with Bill Lazor.
He was the OC.
Yeah, Bill Lazor, the new hot toy.
But it's deeper than that, Cap. This guy, Coach B, he was on the McAfee show too. They were interviewing him, talking. He's a coach. He coaches I think it's a small college, but he won a championship with this small college. But he has a lot of good knowledge, you know. And he was. I don't know if he's friends with the Shanahan family or something. He has some inside information. At least that's what he says with the San Francisco organization. Is all McDaniel was a pencil pusher, an accountant, and an analytics guy. And they gave him a title because he was buddy with the Shanahan folks, right? Family. They gave him this title. It's the buddy system in the NFL, right? They gave him the title so he can get promoted to his next job, which was head coach. That's what he said.
Yeah, and you know who loves analytics? You know who loves analytics, right? Chris Greer.
Chris Greer.
Oh wow!
But I blame McKenzie and I blame Marvin Allen and that whole group and Garfunkel because someone needs to be screaming in his ear. But by the way, for example, look at Kevin Stefanski. Just as a side note, if he doesn't play Jameis Winston in the next 1 to 2 weeks, he's going to get his ass fired too, because Deshaun Watson is a disaster. You have to realize that if you have a capable backup, like Brian Callahan realized, oh my God, Will Levis got injured. He just threw his 9th turnover. He has his 9th turnover in 3 games, 3 games in a quarter. And I have Mason Rudolph, who's a veteran who's won football games in Pittsburgh. And he went in and ran the offense like it was nothing. And our defense.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this, Evan. We're 1-3. They're 1-3. If they win one more game, all that talk is out the window because they can get to 500 still.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's the point. Is the AFC is wide open. The problem with the Dolphins being 1-3 is that they've tried all three quarterbacks. They all suck. They can't get another quarterback in here because no quarterback can learn this difficult system that Mike McDaniel says he has that nobody else can learn because you know what he's done? He's made it too approved. I made this conspiracy, but I'm half kidding when I say
I agree with that 1,000%, and it's affecting the whole team as a whole, especially on the offense. Because if he goes down, who's going to dissect the playbook? This guy made the playbook tool-proof.
Yeah,
like nobody can dissect it because only he can comprehend it.
No one understands it. It's sort of like when you get
Cap,
someone,
Cap, but
go for it, Laker. Go for it.
No, my bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. It was your
look,
turn.
Look,
go ahead.
Do you know why though? It's because look, Tua is a limited quarterback. When you have a quarterback that's not limited, you have those you know what I'm saying, you don't have those problems. But when you have a quarterback that
but now it's becoming obvious now. Now the handbook is out. I mean, like the tell is for real now. Everybody knows.
But guess what? I mean, that's what low key, like someone come on like TD, right? That's what TD was trying to tell everybody, that Tua was this limited quarterback, and he only can do limited things. But then you got Scarlett Thompson and Huntley that can run and that can throw, but they looking like this in this offense. So that means that you didn't change nothing when Skylar Thompson came a quarterback, or that means that you didn't change anything when Huntley. And so everything is predicated.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this, my man, and I'm gonna be real with you, and I'm gonna tell you this straight up. We didn't change anything but head coaches. And as much as people didn't like the attitude that Flores had, now everybody wants attitude on this team, which is very ironic and hypocritical at this point.
Oh, those were the two-and-on, though. Come on, Cap. When we look back on it, that was really the two-and-ons and the two-and-ears that really didn't like it. I was mad at Flores for the fact of how his perception was of the offense in itself, because I think he should have redshirted Tua at the beginning of the first year, and I think that the development would have grown from that point. That was my only knock on Flores.
You know how many points we were averaging in O'Shea? Flores' first year?
How much?
More than this? 19 points, I think.
Of course. Like, I hear now, but by the way, Steve and you and Cap and Laker, how many times have you heard, oh, Tua in that Arizona game? I don't care about the Arizona game. Can we talk about 2024? And by the way, Malloy, you're going to laugh. That person you're talking about, fan of the year, you know what her last tweet was before she called it a night? We could still go 14-3 with the 2 kisses sign. I'm taking a mental health day. I like that person a lot as a person because she's done a lot for the community and all that. But to have that, to put that out there, that they can go 14-3, to have that kind of hopium when you have scored 12 points, 3 points, 10 points in the NFL, when the Lions scored that in the first quarter, they have more points in the first quarter than we had in the last 2 games. Like, what kind of nonsense is this?
Yeah, that's crazy. But back to the tour and the Brian Flores, right? But for me, when you said that, I think Brian Flores didn't want to play tour because he knew that he wasn't ready, right? So what if low key it wasn't Brian Flores to say that?
That's what it's starting to look like, bro.
Tour should come in. Maybe it was, but maybe it was Chris Greer or Ross.
That's what I think. That's what I think it was. Laker. Was it? How do you pronounce it? Laker all day. Okay,
yes,
got you. Lakers all day.
Yes,
I think you're right on track.
Yeah, because that's what it looked like. Because that's crazy how you can play a guy that just came from a hip injury, but then the first game you want him to play.
Yeah.
Nah, that doesn't make any sense, because why would you? Nobody in a right mind will play a quarterback that just came back from hip injury. So
right, and to piggyback on that, I also think that I heard through the grapevine. I'm not saying this is correct. This is just speculation, but I also heard that Shane Gailey was surprised. Like, what? Tua's playing?
He wanted Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, he wanted Fitzpatrick.
That's what I'm saying.
You know the worst scary part for all of us is that we all say we need to draft a quarterback next year. unless Greer and McDaniel are gone, that's never going to happen. That's
No,
the
that's not
problem
gonna
we have with this team. They'll draft an O-line. They'll probably draft a cornerback because we need depth at cornerback. This is just how we are. It doesn't make sense. And also, if we continue to play this bad, you know what the worst part about this is, Steve, and Cap and Lakers? If we play this bad and we actually tank the season somehow with injuries, because Phillips could be out and who knows with Chubb and all this, and OBJ might go Will Fuller, maybe we'll get the first pick. You know what the problem is? I don't want the first pick because the last 2 years, the people who got the first pick screwed up the first pick, and the second pick in the draft turned out to be better than the first.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. When Chubb comes back, when OBJ, gets to play, come back, and we get Tua back on the field, everything's going to be all right.
You really believe that?
That's what they're banking on.
That's exactly what they're gonna. That's what they're gonna put out.
Yeah, but they're gonna be one
in the media.
If they're going, by the way, there's no way this Dolphins fandom is going to survive a bye week if we're 1-4. If they don't do something, then they don't care about this franchise, because there's no way by the time Tua gets back, if you're 2-4 or 1-5, you're no.
They're not going to do nothing, Evan. They're not going to do anything.
I know they're not going to do anything, but that just proves it's all about the money and the financial gain. Because you know what's going to happen the next 2 weeks, Cap? I said this earlier in the show. They're going to send out the season tickets for next year, and they're going to see what happens, because people are not going to be able to put down. They're going to raise it 15%. People are not going to pay for it. I could have taken 100 of my friends to the game today. 100 of my friends today for $1,000. It's unbelievable how cheap the tickets were. They were selling tickets for $15 US. No one had an interest in going into the game. And you know what the crazy part is, Steve, Capital? I don't want. You want to know why I want to go watch McDaniel's press conference? Not to listen to the ingenuity of our head coach. It's to find out how many words you can string together without actually answering the question.
It was bad.
I've never seen more word salad.
Bad.
But it's absolutely awful. Like, he can't answer a question. Steve, you posted on Twitter a couple. He never answers a question. It's 2 minutes of total bullshit.
No, wait till now. Wait till the one just now. You're gonna love the one that just passed.
It's worse.
It's worse.
Now it's worse. It's worse. But you know what? But guess what? But let me tell you something. So I feel like if we have a season like we did last year with Tua and our offense and our defense against the Chiefs, we did. I think Tyreek Hill is going to retire because look, that's the only shakeup that I see will happen, and the Dolphins will be like Tyreek retiring because of, you know what I'm saying. And then what if he goes and he tells the, you know what I'm saying, Chris Greer and all of them a piece of his mind. And I'm gonna one you up right now, LED. All right, I'm gonna one you up right now. By week 8, okay, by week 9 or 8, if we're stinking it up and we're 7 and we're 1-7, 1-8 at this point, you're gonna see other teams that are competing for the playoffs. That's when they make the push to trade bait. You get what I'm saying?
Trade deadline, yeah.
This is when people will start unloading contracts.
Yeah, and the thing too is we can unload. Not saying it's going to happen, but hypothetically, we could unload Tua before March 14th. And
people are making playoff pushes. They want to establish themselves with positioning, with depth.
Yeah, and we would only be like 34 million in dead cap. So
let me ask
we could manage that.
Let me ask you something. With Tua or without Tua, with the foundation of this team, do you not think that a coach, I'm asking the three of you, coach like Vrabel, coach like Belichick, an established veteran head coach could not do more with this team than what he's been doing?
Oh, they would do excellent. They would do things that we wouldn't believe because you have a good defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, what I saw from Weaver today, I think he needs to go to, because I know it's the first year in Weaver's, But if you out here looking like that against the Jaguars, you looking
Titans.
like that against the Bills, you looking like that against the Seahawks, you looking like that against the Tennessee Titans, and your defense is looking like that, and our offense is looking bad, I think both of these head coaches have to go
Yeah.
because that's the problem.
Yeah,
And
but
the court.
Weaver was hoping it was only a 1 year. I think he was hoping to get a head coaching job somewhere.
Yeah, but we can't. If our offense can't do nothing, and our defense can't tackle, and we out here looking like high school team out there, and we lost to a third string quarterbacks today.
Yeah, you're right.
Easy.
That's
Welcome.
That's a good point, brother.
Yeah,
You're
and someone
right.
made a funny joke. That was at the beginning of the game. I actually laughed at this. That Calais Campbell signed a veteran minimum contract to get arrested. He showed up to defend. That's all he's gotten in the first 4 weeks is to be arrested. That's what he got out of being a Dolphin. He came here to win a Super Bowl, and he's got arrested. Like that's.
But you know what? But you know what's funny too is he mentioned before he signed with the Dolphins. I forgot who did the interview or who asked him this. He said, "Why did you choose the Dolphins?" He said, "I came over here because it's easy over here."
Oh yeah, I saw that video. Yeah, I seen.
Yeah, did you see
he
that?
Said, no. He said that. He said that because of the practice was easy. Because I remember he said that he asked one of the players around the league, like, and that was like used to be the Dolphins, and he was like, "Oh, you're saying how's the practice?" And they said it's easy over here. You don't do anything.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you something, man. The Dolphins PR team is making their money this season.
Oh my god!
I don't know how.
I have no because they just honestly they print money because I don't know if you realize this. If you I don't know what's the last time Lakers. Are you in Florida?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So have you? Well, I don't know when the last time you went to a game. I went to a preseason game, and I'm happy my kids ate before because you walk into that stadium just to have a drink is $12, $13. To get your kids 3 tacos, $26. To get your kid a chocolate bar, 11. They print money in that stadium, and because of the season ticket holders, they there's a huge waiting list. So they don't care. I have a buddy who some of us know who had season tickets. He didn't. There was an agreement to have for him to split it over a certain period of time because you can pay in installments. They got confused by one of the months, and because he missed one of the months, they took away his season tickets. They gave it to somebody else. Yeah. That's our franchise. They treat other fans like garbage. The season ticket holders. What did they get in them? Some people in hockey and sports. Oh, the players deliver the season tickets. They get it in a nice box. What do we get? They get it by email, and then they get in the mail a postcard saying, "Would you like to upgrade so you can enter the suites?" That's what we get as season tickets. Like,
that's a gift.
Because they print money. They don't care.
That's
Ross
a joke.
Ross is making money on F1, on tennis, on
skate. Yeah. Hey, Evan, I hate to leave you, but I've got to go right now.
You can go.
Yeah, I'm gonna get going too, man.
You guys can go if anyone wants to finalize or anyone wants to in. I can just.
But my final say is, and it's not good. This season's not looking too good, guys. I don't see Miami winning more. It's over. I don't see him winning. I don't see him winning more.
Steve, I'm gonna tell you what to do, Steve. You're gonna sit back and relax, unwind, and just hear everybody around you. Hear everything that's being said the next week or two. You don't say a word. Just keep hearing what you hear the next 2 weeks. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the amount of things you've heard the past 2 years are gonna switch spontaneously in the span of an eye. Watch.
No, I agree. 100%. It's. I'm just gonna go get me a bag of popcorn and, for the next couple weeks and sit in my easy chair and do as you said, Cap. Just listen.
But there's one thing that Steve Malloy will not be able to hold back on. He will not be able to hold back if people continually say, "Well, if we had Tua."
Just smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave.
Exactly. All right, guys. Hey, I gotta go. Yeah, have a good night, Cap. Lakers all day. Appreciate you joining the show.
I'm still here.
No problem.
And Evan, brother, thank you, man, for inviting me on.
When are you on again? When are you going to have a show?
I don't think I'm going to have one Tuesday. Normally I'm on at Tuesdays
Waiting for Bobby.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So my next show will probably be
Are you sure you
pregame
can't wait?
show.
You can't wait 5 more minutes? Look who's coming.
I can wait a few minutes. Yeah.
Look who's
I can
coming
wait.
on the show.
Okay.
You see
Cool.
whose name that is?
Where?
Guess who's joining? Read my comment.
Hold on for him. Oh, okay.
Your boss is coming. So
All right. Cool.
you have to wait for the boss.
Let me
Lakers
wait
all
for a
day.
couple minutes.
Any words for you?
Yeah, I want
we
to
wait
say
for
this,
Bobby?
but yeah. So look, I think 3 players might have to say something about this organization. Calais Campbell, because he's been around the league, and Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill. Those are the 3 people that we need to step up. Not saying like step up as in their play. I'm saying step up and tell this organization the real truth about everything about an organization. Because if they don't, if one of these players or somebody, Dan Marino, somebody, one of these Hall of Famers, somebody, do not step up and tell, the organization and the owner and the GM and probably some of these players and the head coach what they're thinking, nothing's gonna change. It's gonna be the same thing. Because just like I told y'all, Kurt Herbstreit, when he was on college game day, and when the freaking Miami Hurricane was looking bad, he's the one that made the change for the to go get Mario Cristobal. So that's what I'm saying. Like maybe somebody in the organization that has a football mind needs to tell them what they need to stop doing and fire people, because that's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
If not, it's going to be the same thing. Somebody needs to in that organization needs to freaking step up and tell them what they need to do to become winners. That's it.
Yeah. Good point. All right, I'm going to have to step away. Bobby, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'll be talking to you through the week, brother.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll talk. Appreciate you.
All right. Bye.
So Bobby, how you doing, my brother? So you've been in the comments. Lakers all day. This is Bobby. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to converse.
No.
If it wasn't for the Finstock Sports Network, would not be what it is without the head of the Finstock Sports Network, and that's El Jefe over there. So, so Bobby,
yeah,
I promise you that this game did not put you in a better mood.
No.
So what do you have to say to the Lakers all day and your crowds? We have over 102 people with eyes on the show tonight. We're doing well.
First off, thank you everybody for tuning in to the Miami Dolphins post-game show on FTSN. I'm sorry for just joining now. I'm going to be a little bit, at least for this week, on a hiatus, and I wanted really to stay on a hiatus. But then when I saw Finstanza and Steve are still going on, and Steve was about to bounce, I was like, no, I'll pop in for a few minutes. But first off, Lakers all day. Thank you for jumping on, man. It's really cool to see you here. I think it's the first time I've seen you on, so
yep,
very cool. Love the show image there with the Canes. Thank God we have the Hurricanes right now, brother.
Thank God.
Yeah, dude. I mean, geez, Lou. This, like I said, I wrote in the comments here, and I'll say it out here. This was embarrassing, on all fronts. This was, for the Dolphins to lose the way they lost was a travesty. Like I don't care who the hell was starting at quarterback. Tyreek Hill couldn't catch a freaking football until the end. Jalen Waddle caught a dot right in the center field that would have been a first down. I mean, it was bigger than that, though. The play calls were ridiculous. I mean, it was just all around just a freaking mess. To hear what he was, him taking some of the blame after saying, that some serious changes need to happen on offense. I'll tell you what the serious change is, and I know Constanza without having to hear him, and I did hear him, but I didn't have to hear saying get rid of him. I get that. I know that doesn't need to be said. But what sudden change needs to be is play calling needs to be taken away from him. Tomorrow, as soon as Tuesday morning, we wake up, should be Mike McDaniel gives up play calling to Darrell Bevel. Change it up. Do something. Because I don't, they could have cut it to a 20, 30, 40, 50 freaking times during that game, saying, "Oh, if Tua was here, it's a complicated offense. It's complicated." Well, it's on Coach McDaniel to make it less complicated, and it ain't that great. You're not that great a football mind to make it that complicated. If you got a quarterback that you're going to put in that's been on your team for 2 weeks, really a week and a half, who was your emergency third quarterback last week, if you're going to plug him in, why the hell are you making it that difficult for him? You know his strengths. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know his strengths. He's athletic. He can run. Move him around. You didn't do that at first until the end. The second half, you started trying to do quarterback sneaks and draws and everything else. And then all of a sudden, Tyreek got fired up. I agree with you, though, what you said at the beginning. It was good to see him on the sideline kind of mouthing off finally, show some freaking emotion, But you need to be that at the start of the football game. Be fired up at the start. That wasn't on Huntley, the fumble. That was on Tyreek. Just because Huntley threw it a little behind the line, Tyreek should have caught it. You're the number one player in football, voted on by your peers, paid all this freaking money. We extended you. You're the number one player on this football team, and you came up short. But the excuse is for Dan Orlovsky of ESPN and everybody else is, oh, well, Tua's not there.
Oh, my God.
Here's the breaking news for those who are still asleep at the wheel. It doesn't matter if Tua's playing. We still lose that football game.
100%.
The problem is it doesn't start with Tua, but it doesn't end with Tua. This is bigger than Tua. And after today, it shows, full disclosure, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. Full disclosure. It's the season, it's crazy to say this, just started. First off, it sucks to say that. But also, that's what people are going to say. You got people on there going, oh, we can still go this amount of records. And whatever. Here's the truth, though, right? Yeah, that's the full disclosure. The season just started. Teams have started like this, and they turn it around. We know all this. But you cannot look at this football team and see the way they're playing, even before Tua got hurt, and say this could be turned around. Could it happen? Sure, crazier things have happened. Is it likely? No. Because the truth is, this is not a very good football team. The honeymoon is over for Coach McDaniel. The NFL has figured him out. He could bitch, he could moan, he could do whatever he wants on the sideline. He could finally show some angry faces. He could keep his hair unkept. He could do whatever he wants. He's not going to figure it out. This was the most embarrassing loss that I've seen. You lost against an 0-3 football team. Not an 0-3 team that's like, damn, dude, they could have won these games. This was a bad 0-3 football team. Will Levis, again, only in his second year, okay? He has excuses to be the way he is. But he's one of the worst quarterbacks this season. He's thrown 5 interceptions. 2 interceptions per game. Two interceptions, one, 2 the other, 1 of this, and then 1 today.
And 2 fumbles.
Then he goes down. So now it's like, and he has a heart of a competitor. He went for that first down. He hurt his shoulder. But he goes down. Everybody at that point should have gone, holy crap, we got this. There's no way Mason Rudolph is going to beat this football team now. And what happens? Mason Rudolph comes in and he looks better than Will Levis at quarterback. All of a sudden, he's diamond and everything, slicing up the Dolphins defense. The season just started. It could be turned around. Crazy things have happened. But this is a bad football team. This is a very bad team. And my hope at this point, I know people, again, Evan, we know this better than anybody. 10 games from now, if the Dolphins are in the playoff hunt, we'll be in every game. We'll be cheering them on whatever. But people go, oh, you see, you should have just bull crap. You can't look at this team and tell me there's any kind of promise. There's any silver lining. There's none. Devon Achane almost got himself killed today.
That's on McDaniel.
I know.
It's
like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? How are you calling these plays? Show some fight. Show some grit. Kudos to Tyler Huntley. He did. his stats suck. His stat line sucks. But at least he showed some heart. He showed more than Skylar Thompson.
What were your? Well, let me ask you, Bob, because there was actually a comment on Lakers all day. I'll ask you as well. One of the things I thought that might have been interesting in the second half to give a little bit more of a punch, and I think this is once again Mike McDaniel being a little stubborn, was if you felt that Tyler Huntley didn't have the chemistry and it just wasn't the right fit for this game, and he needed a little more seasoning, and you felt the game was getting away from you, why not try Tim Boyle? Why not try something different? You had nothing to lose. Like, this is sort of like how I treat like a baseball playoff game today, where you see the Braves and the Mets fighting for it, the clawing. They know what's going to happen if they don't play this. Like, they were playing for the fact that they could be within the conversation or sincerely out of the conversation. Because even though we would have been disappointed, even if it was a 17-16 win, people would have said a win is a win. Mike McDaniel, Miami Dolphins adjusted. They clawed. They took a 2-week quarterback or an unknown quarterback who's never been successful in Tim Boyle, and they found a way to claw together and win. What were your thoughts on the fact that he didn't make that kind of an adjustment? Were you okay with that? You wanted Huntley back in, or would you have liked to have seen Tim Boyle?
I'll let Lakers all day start that one.
Me, I mean, I would have liked to seen Huntley because yeah, he's he's still there, but he still can run the ball. I mean, you see when he threw that deep pass and Tyreek did not run under the ball and catch it. That's on Tyreek. So I feel like nobody should put the blame on Huntley because Huntley went out here and ran the ball and scored a touchdown. Huntley looked like he wanted to win this game. It's just some of these players didn't come to play. Mike McDaniel didn't come to play. And I feel like, yes, maybe you should have adjusted with, Boyle. But that's what happens when you have a stubborn head coach like that thinks he knows everything and that thinks his offense can work when really it didn't work in the first week of the season. Because Jacksonville Jaguars looked like they knew what we was doing.
Yeah.
So,
and the Jacksonville Jaguars are not a good football team either. Trevor Lawrence is struggling this year. Doug Peterson's blaming his players. It's not looking good in Jacksonville. Miami beat them barely. People act like, at least we beat. Huh?
No lead yet this season. We're the only team with no lead.
yeah.
For 1 second.
The fact that I can understand the thought process of trying to maybe let's put in Boyle and see if we can add a spark. But here's this issue with that. It wasn't Huntley missing the spark. Yeah. Huntley was not, quarterback position was not the problem tonight. And if Huntley would have played, it probably would have really, it was a problem. It was a part of everything, because he's generating the offense. I don't mean it that way. I mean that you could have put Huntley in there. You could have put Skylar back in there. You could have told Joe Schmo in the corner throwing out the garbage, hey, get in there. And it would have been the same result. We scored our first touchdown with Tyler Huntley using his legs. It wouldn't have done anything.
Touchdowns for 9 quarters.
I would have felt better if Mike McDaniel would have turned around and with his little play sheet there and would have went here, Daryl, you got it. Take this, and then Daryl.
He never looked up.
Then that probably would have been the spark.
Do you see how quickly he runs to the tablet? It's very Gase-like. Are you starting to see it? Every time there's a play, he goes to look at his tablet. What did I do wrong now? What did I do? What did I screw up?
Here's my issue. And I've told you this before. I said it before we hired him, veteran head coaches and all this. I prefer a head coach, not a head coach who calls plays on offense or defense. When you're an offensive coordinator, you become a head coach. You're no longer an offensive coordinator. You could help design the plays. You could help dictate when it comes, like if there's a play and you go, no, let's not do that. Let's do this. That's different. But you need to be a head coach and you need to delegate your play calls on offense and defense to your coordinators. Empower them. That way you have a first opinion and then you're the second opinion. You have the ultimate say. You got the ultimate power. But in the end, you're letting this guy right here dictate the offense. That way you can focus on everything. We don't have a head coach. We have a glorified head coach, offensive coordinator as a head coach. That's what we have. He's not a head coach. That's the truth. That's the truth. And until it comes time where he gives up play calling, and I see a man who goes up on there and goes, I'm giving the play calling to, obviously people think Frank Smith there, blah, blah, whatever. Given this, I'm going to focus on, I'm still going to be involved in the offensive meetings, but I'm going to take a more outside role, blah, blah. Then I'll say, okay, maybe there's a chance this could be saved. If it happens early, not mid-season, not after the bye, tomorrow. Has to happen tomorrow. Has to happen tomorrow.
Can you believe the number of illegal shifts we took tonight? No team has taken this many illegal
Undisciplined,
shifts.
ridiculous.
No more motions.
Stupid.
Can we stop with the motions?
And it wasn't rookies. It wasn't, and they would go out there and go, you can't really blame Tyler Huntley. Who the hell is blaming Tyler fucking Huntley? Sorry. Nobody's blaming Tyler Huntley. Tyreek got a motion penalty. Janu Smith got a. These are veterans.
Julian Hill,
you've been on this football team. How the hell are you getting these penalties? McDaniel, you're making it too difficult for guys who are some of the smartest players in the NFL, especially Tyreek. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well,
I think he's talking.
I mean, what's the one thing that everybody wanted? We wanted an elite quarterback, and we still don't have that.
no.
And our problem is we still worrying about the quarterback. That's our problem. I mean, once we get rid of,
But you don't need one. You don't need one.
No. I know we don't need one, but I'm saying like all these other teams got good quarterbacks.
Sam Darnold is
that's a great no. Well, I'll say with Lakers all day. I've been saying this again since the beginning of the year. Everybody was talking to him. Oh, you know, we should extend him. Oh, we shouldn't do this. Oh, we should, or he's the franchise. I said this is the wrong conversation to have. We need to add a legitimate backup quarterback. We need a guy who would come in day one if Tua goes down. You know, they treated it just like the offensive line. Oh, you guys are more worried than we are. We trust Skylar Thompson. We trust Tim Boyle or Mike White. Then they cut Mike White because he played like garbage in the preseason, but they kept Skylar. You thought, hey, you know what? Now they're going to make a wise decision. They didn't do that. They didn't go get a Joe Flacco. They didn't go get a
Russell Wilson,
Wilson, Sam Darnold. Exactly. Russell Wilson was signed for $1. The Steelers turned around. They were set. They didn't have to go get anybody else. They were golden. They're good at their quarterback position. They go, no, and they had Mason Rudolph as their backup, who beat us tonight. They go, no, you know what? We're going to go trade for Justin Fields. The Bear fans today are saying, man, should we have kept Justin Fields and drafted this guy and did that? Even though Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be fine. The Steelers went out and still got Justin Fields. The Jaguars, we all know who's their franchise quarterback as of right now. It's Trevor Lawrence.
He's doing a great job.
But what did they do? They went and got Mac Jones. Not saying Mac Jones is something special, but hey, would you feel better with Matt Jones coming in quarterback than Skylar Thompson? Yeah, but the problem is Chris Greer thinks he's smarter than everybody else, and so does Mike McDaniel. That's why I say people, Chris Greer needs to be fired. Look, I've been saying that since before Flores got fired. I said if one's gonna get fired, both need to get fired. They decided to keep him. I'm all about it, but don't just blame Chris Greer. It falls on Mike McDaniel too. But he made the decision with the offensive line. He made the decision with the backup quarterback. He decided instead of spending money on an offensive lineman, he said, "Let's go get Odell Beckham Jr., who's standing on the sidelines for 6 weeks, who's never played a game with the Dolphins at all. We're paying him to stand on the sidelines instead of paying for an offensive lineman." That's not just Chris Greer. That's Coach McDaniel too.
Hey,
go ahead,
hey,
Lakers.
Hey, Bobby. Do you know the funny thing is? Look, my sister, she knows football, right? She tells me that she thinks the reason why Odell Beckham is a Miami Dolphin is because he wants to live in Miami. He wants to go, do this, do that. He doesn't want to play football because if you realize it, he just came here because of what? It's Miami, right? You know what I'm saying? So, and we out here, we could have got other wide receivers. We could have got other quarterbacks. But we stuck here. We stuck with Tua. We stuck with Skylar Thompson because we have a GM that doesn't know football, that's been here for 25 years, that still hasn't won a championship. But then you go fire a DC that freaking won Super Bowl with his defense coming back against the Falcons. And before he left, he told you and maybe Ross that y'all do not know football. And he walked out of here, and his team is 4-0. So that has to change. Because if it doesn't change now or this year, some people might be walking away as Dolphins. I'm not saying me, but I'm saying some of these fans might be walking away. Because
I
if
don't
we
see
keep,
fans walking away. I don't see
you
that.
never know, bro. You never. I'm saying you.
I'll tell you what, I understand where you're coming from, like Chris.
Mhm.
I get it. It gets frustrating. I know what you're saying, and
Yeah.
I understand that. I think the day we see a lot of fans walk away is the day that Tua steps away. You're gonna see a lot of quote unquote fans step off. But I know what you're saying because after a while, it's the same thing. You can only ask for so much. It's I always said being a Dolphins fan is being like it's like a toxic relationship. They say it's going to get better. I'm sorry, I'll do better. It's going to be better. I promise you. Here's some roses. A rose could be Tyreek Hill trade. Oh my God, it's going to be great again. It's going to be so much better. Look at this shiny new piece, and then it's the same thing over and over. And for me, and I know Lakers all day, and especially Finstanza, I am here until the end. It is till death do me part.
I'm a masochist because even the most negative fans on this network
Mhm.
who've been wanting for this guy Brett, who's been wanting to fire Greer forever, and I love the fact that my brother Bobby is now coming around to something I've been preaching for 2 years. So at least I could get that. I was wrong about Jason Sanders, but at least I was right about Mike McDaniel, about the fact that this guy just not a head coach.
Yeah, but like, do y'all think like he kind of lied because
Yes.
what Steve said about him hearing what whatever that guy said about him and for the 49ers and Mike McDaniel, because I feel like the 49ers low-key saw this before we did. You know what I'm saying? Because how are we gonna hire a coach that doesn't really have no coaching experience, but then the Jets hire a defensive coach, right? But then he goes and wins the championship with the 49ers, but we go hire a coach that was on your staff that never have no experience.
I think they hired somebody who was going to be Tua's babysitter.
That's right.
They didn't hire a head coach. They hired a babysitter.
Mike McDaniel. Brian Flores wanted to interview Mike McDaniel to be the offensive coordinator a year before he got fired. The Shanahan blocked that interview. The reason why I think he blocked it was to protect McDaniel. The year later, the only reason why he said, "Okay, now McDaniel, you can go," was because it's a head coaching opportunity. There's only 32 chances to be a head coach in the NFL. No matter what team that may be. Notice though, the Dolphins were the only team that interviewed or wanted to interview Coach Mike McDaniel. No one else did. There was no one to interview. Everybody treated it like it was when it happened. And this was, obviously when you saw what he did with Tua and gave Tua the confidence, and we saw in the first and second year, you go, holy crap, maybe this is right. Maybe this could go. But then you start to see the flaws. You start to see the loose strings. You start to see the problems. And again, I believe it, like Evan says, the reason why Coach McDaniel was hired, because, when Flores was here and with Greer, they tried to get Tom Brady. They tried to get Deshaun Watson. They were going back and forth with Fitzpatrick. Tua wasn't getting a fair shake. So they said, okay, now we're going to have to stick with Tua because Flores was saying out loud that we were talking to Tom Brady. So we're going to stick with Tua. And now we're going to go find a coach who's actually going to be sweet on Tua. And that's what he did. He talked to McDaniel. McDaniel said, hey, I could do this. I could make this guy's an NFL quarterback. I believe that's exactly what happened. And again, you can only go as far as your leader's going to take you. And right now, they went as far as they could because it looks like he has no answers. It is 4 weeks into the season, I think. Forgive me if I'm a little fried. 4 weeks into the season, and they look lost. This could happen at the end of the year, and we go, damn, man, how could they do this? It's the same thing over and over again. They didn't wait until December. They're doing it right now. That's the problem. And I hope, my hope is Stephen Ross is looking at this and going, I've spent all this money. I've guaranteed all these contracts. I've been open with my checkbook. And you told me I didn't have to worry about the offensive line. You told me I didn't have to worry about a backup quarterback. You told me I didn't have to worry about all this. And this is what you did. And he, instead of firing, we're gonna let McDaniel go. No. We're gonna let Chris Greer. I don't want to hear any of that. You fire both of them. Dave, you fire the both. If you're gonna fire one, you gotta fire both.
Absolutely.
That's where I am today. You fire one, you fire both of them.
You have to fire both of them because that's the only way that we can probably do something. Because if you don't, and if you just stand pat, I mean, what are we gonna do? Because Tua looked like trash before he got injured. He looked like the same old Tua. He doesn't get better, and your offense is still looking luster. You know what I'm saying? Like, not really that good. So how can we beat these bad teams? But you can't beat
the
great
bad teams. You gotta you're not gonna.
Now they can't beat the bad teams, right? Remember the whole thing? They couldn't beat the good teams. Now they can't beat the bad teams.
But that's crazy.
But can I ask you a question? Let me add Bobby, because you didn't have a chance. You mentioned this before when people think Tyreek has to catch the ball. I don't think he's trying, because he's looking like he's trying because he does give his all.
Mm-hmm.
But Tua missed him in game 1, in game 2. Tua missed him in game 1. Tua missed. Now Tyler Huntley missed him. Everyone's missing. Now is it the quarterback's fault? As fast as he is, Tua's overthrowing him.
I think overthrowing him. I know it's on. Well, I think he is too. To me, I don't know what I wouldn't want to say he's not trying because of who he is and what he's done in this league with his career. I don't want to go. I wouldn't go that far. I know what you're saying. I would say I don't know. I think he's too far in his head. He's too up in his head. He looks like he's thinking before he's even. There's something different about him. Like, it looks like he's all up in his head.
He was arrested.
Who knows? Did that mess with him? I don't know. Again, it shouldn't. I mean, everybody was in. Most people, the NFL world seemed to be in his favor, so he should be fine with that. That happened. That it's past that point. I think it's more of, I don't know. Is it trying to do too much? Is it, I was the number one player and, I want to make exciting plays. I want to be a part of the backfield, which is fine. He has the talent to do that. But if you're not going to execute, you need to go back to basics. Go line up on the outside and go run deep. And Tyler Huntley showed me and Tyreek tonight that they could get that done. That's an adjustment that needs to be made. Tyler Huntley underthrew one pass. That other deep one showed that he can make it. It looked at ease. He as soon as he planted a foot, he took that deep bomb. You're going to have to make that adjustment. You need to get him going. Get that tire. You got to make that one big play, and hopefully he gets out of his head and he just goes on. Waddle, same thing tonight. I know we could accuse him saying maybe he just doesn't give a crap, whatever. To me, again, Mark here, Hymas, I agree. He's thinking ahead. Thinking about that big play, thinking about running before catching. That's a no-no. We don't have to be pro players. I've played high school ball, but I'm not a pro player, so I'm not going to say. But we all know you don't think about anything else before you catch that football, before you make that play. Cap, how you doing, brother? Great to see you.
Yeah, Bob.
Much love to you, my man. Appreciate you. Yeah, I saw him.
Do you know that if the Dolphins FTSN today, we get the second pick? We went from being a playoff spot last week at 1-2 to now being 1-3 with the second best odds in the draft. That's how quickly this falls apart for him. Yeah, that's how quickly things have fallen apart. And I think this team is going to turn him off at one point, McDaniel. Like, I honestly think if we lose next week to Bill Belichick, to the New England Patriots, they can't do this the whole season. They can't literally watch this systematically combust. The problem is that, unfortunately, the Tua excuse is going to rear its ugly head.
It already is.
But it's now going to continue to rear its ugly head. But this wouldn't have happened without Tua. But you have to be dumb not to realize that this was happening with Tua. The whole foundation of the team is completely lost. There's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of leadership. When I hear Tyreek Hill say, no, there's no leader.
There's no leader. That's the problem. That's the problem too. There's no leader on the team. There's nobody speaking up for each other. There's nobody telling.
It's true.
That's That's the problem because
Too many yes
when
men.
too many
That's
yes men. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Lakers. Finish. I'm sorry.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, low key, because look, we freaking let go Wilkins, and now look at us. You know what I'm saying? We got Campbell, but was Wilkins the leader? Because that's what it looks like. Because it looks like Tyreek wasn't no leader.
No.
Looks like Waddle wasn't no leader. Tua was definitely not no leader. Mike McDaniel's not going to be a leader because he's going to be too buddy with Tua. So the real leader that looks like it was Wilkins, and he's gone.
Yeah.
Let me ask you both this question. I don't think I asked either one of you, Bobby, because it was one of my pet peeves before the game, and we talked about it last week. We saw more close-up shots of Mike McDaniel
Mhm.
and Tua Tagovailoa than we did of anybody else tonight. I did not choose to watch the Dolphins game to watch my concussed number one quarterback, who is partly to blame as much as Greer, because right now, whether we lost or not, whether
The reason
Tua
why
was
the
in the lineup
Dolphins
tonight,
didn't sign a backup quarterback too is because they didn't want to hurt Tua's feelings. So
exactly,
yes, put the blame
kissed him on the
Tua.
forehead. My problem is him in the sideline, and if he's this guru with his own offense, and he's supposed to be around because he's capable, why is the earpiece not helping Snoop? If he's so involved with developing these quarterbacks now because he can be there to be in the ear and he could be on the sideline to help his team, the 2 games he's been on the sideline as the quarterback helper to Mike McDaniel this has been the 2 worst games we played all year. These games are worse than the actual Bills game. The Bills game got away from us quickly because Tua got injured and also threw 3 interceptions. But in the end, Tua is a distraction we don't need right now. He's becoming the focal point of everything. He should not be there. And it really bothered me that every time there was something going on poor with Tyler Huntley, Tua's face would show up. It really bothered me.
Because he's low key the third problem of this team.
Yeah.
Well, the fourth problem, other than the owner, but yeah, really the third problem. And I don't know, bro. It's sad because even with saying what Bobby said about Tyreek, I feel like yes, maybe Tyreek was in his head, but I think Tyreek realizes that he can't do it with this type of offense and with this type of quarterback.
I
You
think
know
he
how,
might quit. He might just give up.
but that's why I told you
He
earlier
never
when I said
was.
that if we look like this, like we did last season, but it's this season, he might retire because he don't want to go out here and the Chiefs out here winning the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs, looking like they looking, their offense and their defense, because that's gonna look bad on him because he left. You feel me? He not gonna want to take that gamble, and he might retire, and then that's what I'm saying. This might be pressure. That's what I'm saying. It might not be the football aspect or the situation what happened with the cop. It might be how the Chiefs are doing because
Yep.
he knows what quarterback he had before our quarterback and our
Yep.
team. So that probably the pressure of the Chiefs and them doing better than us because he probably wants to one up them. Because if y'all realize it, every time we play the Chiefs, Tyreek played kind of like that top wide
Awful.
receiver. Yeah, awful, but he wanted to show everybody what type of wide receiver he was. That's what I'm saying. So he might. I don't know. He knows, but he just don't want. I think he knows what type of quarterback that he really wants. But he just don't want to say it because he don't want to hurt nobody's feelings.
That's the problem with this team. It's all about when Louis Riddick was saying during the game. He said I liked one thing he said during the game, which is
Mm-hmm.
we were not utilizing the middle of the field, and he even said I'm sick and tired of actually saying it because
Mm-hmm.
Mike McDaniel doesn't seem to be listening to me. But then when Orlovsky said this is all about relationships, I almost vomited. And like this, by the way, I don't know if Bobby had a chance to hear it. That's why Lakers All Day joined the show. Is that when he was watching it with his sister and his mom, and when his mom heard the Orlovsky say that this is all about relationships,
My sister, yeah, my
or your
sister said
sister,
that. Yeah.
that it was all about relationships, she started laughing because Since when is the gladiator sport about relationships? It's about winning. It's not about being friends. It's a violent sport.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that stupid comment when he said about the receivers and the quarterback. It's about relationships. Listen, Orlowski lost a lot of credibility for me tonight. You know, when he was saying about, I'm reading it right here too. You know, this offense is one of the most complicated in the NFL. This offense is tailor-made for Tua. Not everybody can run it. If you want to see how good of a player Tua is, watch this offense right now. That's a full
of crap.
Come on, dude. The offense was not good to start this season. It hasn't been good since the Broncos. Let's be real here. You know, and shame on Coach McDaniel if it's that freaking difficult. You know, if you're built around one guy, then just be the quarterback coach. Let's take a seat. You know, let's move Darrell Bevel, let him go run somewhere, let you be the quarterback coach, and let's go to get a real head coach. And I know I saw some people earlier, right on there, Belichick and all this when I looked, and I said it on there as well. And this is where I stand. If that actually goes down, and let's say this actually goes on, give Belichick the reins at the front office and hire Mike Vrabel. I'm all on board. If McDaniel gets laid off with Chris Greer, whatever, the next head coach, I'm all in favor of Mike Vrabel. That guy is a defensive mind, but he didn't call defensive plays. He was a head football coach. He was a head football coach. That's what a coach is. That's what he is. That's what we need. So I'm all in favor. If you're telling me Belichick is the front office guy, okay, you know what? We're going to instill that type of. That's different. I'm head coach. Not because I'm saying it's still but I don't want. He's not going to be GM and head coach. No, front office or whoever is the new GM. Go hire Mike Vrabel as your head coach.
You don't want Belichick to come here and break Shula's record
nope.
as the Dolphins head coach?
Nope. No chance in hell. No. He could run the team. He could be the GM or the VP.
Amazing,
I'm down with that. I'm okay with. No, it will not be amazing. You'd be down. He could be the head of football operations. He could be. I'm cool with that. I'm down with that. You make. If Greer had 20 years, give Belichick 5-10 years until he decides to step down. But you go and hire Mike Vrabel as your head football coach. Look at DeMarco Ryans, a former player. Look at Kevin O'Connell. I said veteran head coaches, and Vrabel checks off 2 boxes for me. First off, he's a former head coach, but he's also a former player. And when former players, a lot of times when they're not Yale players, not when he played a little bit in, I'm talking about a guy who actually played in this league. You look at DeMarco Ryans. Look what he did. Go look at what Vrabel has done. Look at that. Look at Kevin O'Connell. Same tree. Kevin O'Connell. Look what he's done. He's a former quarterback.
Dan
Campbell. Real football coaches, but also know what it is about being a player in this league.
And Brian Flores too. Yep.
So, anyway, it's still what's crazy is we're talking about this in week 4, and the season just effing. Well, you know what I'm saying when it's just that we're still in the first quarter of this. That's crazy. So, it's all hellfire and brimstone. It sucks. I was hoping for a win tonight for different reasons, and freaking Dolphins. I want to say something else, they're just who they are. They're always a pain in my ass, and
they brought us all together, Bobby. So I guess that's kumbaya.
It's okay. I mean, we still got the Hurricanes though. So
damn right. I mean, that was a great finish at the end there. That game.
Hey, we could talk about Heat. We could talk about.
I was at the game though. I was at the game when that happened.
Were you really? Oh hell,
yeah,
man.
I was. That was crazy. I mean, for me, I didn't really like our secondary because it was kind of iffy. Because and we had to come back, right? So that was the good thing about we had to come back. And we had low-key will to win, but our secondary didn't look too good. And the Hurricanes to play these, these top teams, we have to get better on defense.
Yeah, and you saw what Virginia Tech did, and I mean obviously they're not as talented as Miami. I'd say their quarterback is very good. That dude is underrated.
Yeah,
but
that's his cousin. You know that, right? Do you know?
Yeah, and
that's crazy. Yeah,
and he was. I mean, every time he got the ball, he made you nervous. And obviously, that play at the end was clutch. I mean, he did everything he could. I knew it wasn't a catch, and I'm not just saying it as a Hurricanes fan. I knew watching, and my daughter was right behind me. My wife was listening to me. I was saying the ball is moving all the way down. The other receiver or the other tight end or whoever was moving it as well. It came down and the guy was out of bounds. That is not a completed catch. It was shame on the referees for even calling it. But that was one hell of a game, and I'm with you. I actually was happy that even though I would have loved obviously a blowout or a win or just straight out, I was happy that the type of test they had to win that game, to come out and win that football game the way they did, to come back and do it. It's at least we have the Hurricanes, and no, none of us are leaving as Dolphins. We'll cheer them to our dying days, but
I was just
frustrating as hell right now, man.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because, like, I mean, we want the Dolphins to win, but they out here keep on breaking our hearts. But that's why I said, you know what I'm saying, some of these Dolphins, you know what I'm saying, you never know because, you know, they put their sweat, they put their love into this team, and the team keep on breaking their hearts. And it's like, man, you know, it's like, when are you going to get better? Because that's all we want. We always want the Dolphins to have a good quarterback. We want us to, you know, go to the playoffs and win a championship. But when these other great teams keep on getting these good quarterbacks and we still have this mediocre, you know, quarterback, head coach, GM, then that's the problem. Once we get rid of those things, we're going to be okay. Once we get like maybe a Vrabel, like you said, or Bill Belichick that knows football and that wants to win instead of putting the money first, then that's where we can see changes. But it's not going to change unless four things happen: the owner, GM, head coach, and the quarterback.
Yep. Don't disagree at all.
Yep.
Bobby, any final words? Because it's almost 1 a.m. for myself and Lakers all day, almost midnight
Yep.
for you. You look as tired as probably both of us feel. So, any final words? We're going to give you the final words since you like to always do your spiel. So, let's go for it.
No, first off, sorry I haven't been with you guys today on pregame and postgame. I wanted to hop on at the end there just because I was following you guys, and I stepped off for a little while, and then I saw you guys were still on, and I saw Steve was about to hop off, and I knew you were enjoying yourself here, so I said I could pop in for a little bit, and without getting into for those who don't, first off, everyone who's watching, and do I trade Achin in fantasy? No. Just because he's probably the only one to get the most points on this football team right now. If you have Tyreek Hill, trade him, get what you can from him.
And by the way, Jalen Phillips might be done.
I don't know what happened to Phillips.
He got hurt his leg again. He lost. He couldn't put weight on his leg again.
Yeah,
he made a bad turn.
I just saw our friend Lisa post something right now. So I was wondering what happened.
He made a bad turn on one play, and then he was hobbling on one foot all the way to the dressing room.
Yeah, and anyway, we'll see. And I'm saying, I don't know how much I will be on. I will try to pop in here and there. I am flying to Florida on Wednesday. If you don't know, my stepfather passed away suddenly after a medical emergency. Passed away yesterday morning, so we are reeling from that right now. This is the man who he was just on my show 2 weeks ago on Fitz Talk Today, which was great, and he was the one who I moved into his home in Miami, Hialeah. Grew up in Hialeah. When my parents separated, moved into his home at 5 and 6 years old, around that time frame, and he welcomed me, him and his family, my grandparents, his parents, my step grandparents. They took me and my brothers and sisters as their my brothers and sister as their own, and raised us as their own. He raised me as a Dolphins fan. Of course, it was the end of Dan Marino by that point, and Jay Feeler, Ricky, and all those guys, Chris Chamberlain, Rondé, and it was some of our favorite memories. And I used, anytime something would go down, before the network, and he was one who told me, Bobby, you need to go do podcasts, man. We talk all the time. He goes, you need to do this, you need to, and he pushed me, and I started doing it. And before there was a network where I do the breaking news, or before doing shows with Evan, every game, every news break, every trade, every time he was the phone call. I would call him, and after games and all that. So, he really was, he was always supportive. I mean, literally every time I talked to him, he would, congratulate me on the show and it was gonna be his little critiques and about, well, you got to be a little more nicer to Evan. Evan needs to stop, and things like that, and he'd say stuff like that. But he would always say, I love you, Robbie boy. I'm not trying, But he would always like, oh, Bobby, you're doing great, and son, as a father, and he was truly one of maybe my big, my mom and Tati. Obviously, I don't want to take. I'm not saying anything. But he really was like my biggest supporter and confidant, and it's heartbreaking. I'm going through it, and so I appreciate you guys all tuning in. I really do, and forgive me if I'm not as, even when we lose, I try to be the but I'm thankful for Evan. Yes, I am thankful for Evan and Steve and everyone who's hopping in and helping, and Lakers all day. It's really cool getting to know you and have you come on, and
Ain't no problem, man. My condolences, bro. And guess what, bro? Don't stop doing YouTube, bro. For real. Like, keep on doing it. Make it your goal to get somewhere on YouTube. Don't stop at all. You know what I'm saying? When you have like downtimes or whatever, keep on doing YouTube. Keep on talking about the Dolphins. Don't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? That's what he wanted you to do. And that's what, you know what I'm saying? Don't stop. You know what I'm saying? Just because you know what I'm saying, like he's not here, you could still do it for him. You feel me?
I will, and I will, and I know that I do, and that's why I hopped on right now. I wasn't planning to, and just because I don't want to break down, not that I think it's weak or not, but I told my wife's like, take your time, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I see Evan here, and Evan is, he's great. He's my brother. I love him to death. And, he told me, he said, don't worry about it. Don't do a damn thing, and just chill. I got you. But I know Ralph would want me on right now. I know what he'd be saying right now. Trust me. I know what he'd be saying.
I know what he'd be saying too.
And I wish they would have pulled it out for him today. Maybe that's why I'm a little extra freaking mad, but, Lakers, I appreciate you, my man. I really do, for your kind words. And I do, Mark and Label and Chris and Cap, and appreciate you guys.
Lakers are welcome anytime on all of
No, Lakers, you are, man, for sure. And hey, you know what?
So many different shows here.
Tomorrow is our Kane show, Kane's Wear podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, man, they are killing it, dude. They got great stuff there. Check them out, 8:00 Eastern. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff, man. So please come on in and join us anytime you want. Seriously,
I bet I will. Yeah. I mean, when I'll do it when I lucky I get off. What time tomorrow though?
Their show's at 8:00. Their show's 8:00 Eastern. Okay. Yeah, there's 4 of them. You'll like them a lot.
Subscribe to the network, and you'll get all the notifications.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. And if I don't know if you're on X, just check myself out at Finstanza or at Bobby Finstock. Just drop us a DM. We're always there to answer anything questions you might have.
All right. Thank you.
Of course. And everybody, again, thank you for your condolences. Again, I may pop in here and there. Again, I'm flying down to Miami Wednesday. I'll be there for a week, I think. We have his funeral on Saturday. So that's the plan. So I'll try to do my best to pop in. Finstanza will probably be in a lot for me. So good luck with that, guys. I know it's hard to keep listening to him as much, but
I was right about one thing. At least, Bobby, before we go in a few minutes, at least admit that I was right about one thing, that this guy was a joke.
I told you. Not a head coach. I said it already. I think Label is saying that I'm coming around. I will tell you right now, he is an offensive coordinator, or glorified. I don't know how to say that. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. Glorified offensive coordinator as a head coach. I think that might be the way I'm trying to say it. That's what he is. If you want to be the OC or a quarterback's coach, go do that, dude. Just step down tomorrow and do it, because right now you're not a head coach. You're not doing it.
Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury fell apart in Arizona, and now look what he went and moved away. He came back, went back to college, and came back, and now he's the first few games. Look at Jaden Daniels.
Yep. Yep. Some teams get really lucky, man. Some teams get really lucky.
Yeah, Rowdy boy.
Yeah.
All right, if you get up to Lawndale, we're glad to. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you, my man.
Yeah.
Evan, you can close it out, my man.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching. 95 people still viewed on the show. We were on for over 2 hours. And think about it. We made it through 2 hours without really going too negative. We got it out from the beginning. This is just, Dolphins Twitter, Dolphins X don't get affected. In the end, it's just football, but we're just passionate about our Dolphins. Don't forget to check us out. Don't forget to support Caneswear, the greatest show on surf. Tomorrow you're going to see, you probably won't see Real Talk Rants for a couple days, as I was talking to Steve before, but you still will see the Caneswear Daily Podcast. I'm sure East Entry boys will be on a little bit of a hiatus for a little bit. I might not be on the bandwagon because I might push it to Finns Talk today to do more of a preview of the next game on Saturday, and on Sunday for the pregame show against the Patriots, where who knows what will happen over the next couple of days. But we have a lot going on the network, hockey season coming up, basketball season coming up. But whatever Bobby needs me to do in the network, we'll be there to support him and his family, whatever we can.
Appreciate you, brother. East Century boys, we might do a live show next week. Talk about everything, but also just a tribute to Ralphie boy. So guys, if just keep your eyes out, and I'd love for all you guys to come in and participate, and we just we'll talk everything, life. That's what East Century boys about. We talk about everything, obviously sports, but life in general. But anyway, go ahead, Finstanza. I'm out.
No problem. Guys, thank you so much, everything, for watching. Always, no matter how hard we try. I might say frauds up, but in the end, it's always about fins up. Fins up, guys.
Dolphins stand to unite. Miami stands to fight. Lights burn bright. From the water they rise, fins cut the